Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Escape Pod. I am Nathan.
I'm Josiah.
I'm Sal.
Sal's not here, Mrs. Torrance.
Would you hate me if I did the whole episode like this?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Escape Pod. I'm Nathan.
I'm Josiah.
And I'm Sal.
God fucking damn it.
No, you need to have that little joke in there.
I know.
And then this bit. Hello, we watched Dr. Sleep.
And The Shining
And The
beforehand.
And Gerald's Game.
Yes, we did.
And maybe some of you watched Hill House. Maybe.
I watched 3 episodes.
And we want to talk about that.
And then Nathan and I both read Shining and Dr. Sleep.
You did. We all have varying levels of preparedness for this podcast, whereas I'm what I would call the Mike Flanagan expert of the group.
Yeah, I would say in terms of percentage-wise.
To call myself a fan would be apt, because seeing as Hill House is a Netflix show I can watch anytime I want to, I still bought the Blu-ray, pre-ordered it, in fact, because I was so much in love with it.
That's good.
And it is not a far-fetched to say that it is my favorite horror television show ever. So when I mean, you know,
not to be an asshole.
not this kind of 1980s Dark Shadows, but
Yes, I was gonna say, how many good horror TV shows are there?
I was gonna ask.
not very. But if
it's still a high standard.
But if all of them were at least half the quality of Hill House, we'd be in a better world.
Yes, that is correct.
And they're not.
That is correct.
They are.
And you guys have only seen one episode of Hill House.
And then I've also seen Oculus and Hush,
Both.
and
Yes,
I haven't
yes,
seen any of the other ones.
yes.
I've seen Oculus.
He's also the guy who directed the critically acclaimed Ouija prequel,
Yes, apparently that one's really good.
because it's by Mike Flanagan.
Did you know Ouija is technically a board game owned by Mattel?
Is it?
And so that's technically a board game movie.
Oh, thank God. But we watched Dr. Sleep. I mean,
Yeah.
we will reference, of course, you guys read the books. I did not. And
I'm sure it'll come up.
And I'm more of the Mike Flanagan expert, which will come into play. But this is a Dr. Sleep / Shining / kind of maybe Gerald's Game at some points.
Oh, yeah, I think we
Slash
should probably talk about Joe.
Other things. So, welcome to the Mike Flanagan, Stephen King MCU film.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of.
A little bit.
It definitely...
But we'll have a focus.
I doubt there's many people watching this who haven't seen it, but if you have and you're just interested,
If
is
you're waiting
this an
for
interest?
our expert recommendation or disrecommendation?
Well, before we spoil it, I guess we should say if we recommend it or not.
Oh, really? Just okay, yeah.
Go ahead.
If you want to stop watching the video now,
Go ahead.
First of all, give us a like before you just leave.
And then come back.
Because if you're just gonna leave right now, just go ahead and give us a like. I recommend Dr. Sleep.
I recommend it. Absolutely.
And I had some issues with it, but I definitely recommend it. It's still, despite my issues, in the best films of the year.
Yeah, I was thinking today actually, because I was in preparation for this podcast.
Sure.
I was thinking how many times we see a film made 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago that then get a sequel today, because Hollywood tried the whole reboot thing and realized but people still want to see the old faces.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sure,
we're gonna have a sequel, so we can still have a somewhat original idea, but it still has the buying power per se of this brand, which is kind of how we see a lot nowadays, how we have that Die Hard gets a sequel now, and Indiana Jones and the Mummy and all this other shit, and it's why can't we just make new things that are like that? It's why I kind of prefer video games as a medium, or even books, because Death Stranding just came out the same day as Dr. Sleep. We all, everyone who played it because, we know this creator from other things. We trust him to make a cool world. It's not based on some book. It's no. We brands have you can make a new brand in a game really easily, whereas in movies they're kind of like cash cows that you just keep pumping. Dr. Sleep feels unlike Force Awakens and.
Well, if it's going up against that.
and is it just The Predator or some bullshit?
Oh, yeah, The Predator.
In other movies like that, where it's shit, right? Where it's remember the other movies? Dr. Sleep doesn't feel like it's doing that. It feels like a genuine, next step, not a, hey, remember? Because, the trailers for this movie sucked.
I don't think they sucked.
I think they sucked. And they also overplay the whole Overlook Hotel.
Because what you were just talking about, they had to sell this as being the whole big surprise of this movie is Oh, it's a sequel to the Kubrick movie. It's not just an adaptation of the book.
Kinda, yeah. It feels like it's trying to ride the line.
And I think for the most part it rides it successfully.
I think
my issues are like at the very end because Nathan and I read the book. There is a point about halfway through the movie where we're like, oh, they just cut 100 pages out. Like this plot is moving like fucking breakneck pace to get to the Overlook. That's interesting
because for me it felt like it was a very slow, meticulous film. Because
it was.
And I guess to close out my point before we move on was just that this does feel like, instead of trying to just redo The Shining, it is like it's because it has like things that like you wouldn't expect in your brain to have a Shining sequel to be. Like there's like a fucking shootout.
Yeah.
There's like we're going to like a bunch of different locations on like The Shining, which is in one location.
Yeah.
We have all these varying characters. There's time jumps. It's like because if there was no Dr. Sleep book. And if studio had to go to someone like fucking Blumhouse and go, hey, listen, like make a Shining sequel, it would probably be
some kids break into the abandoned Overlook,
or this team of like psychics are going to the Overlook and they find all the old ghosts again. And it's like
well, I think that's Stephen King's strength is like regardless of when he goes a bit far left field with his ideas, at least like he's always
the kid from The Stand.
Yeah, but I just mean like usually like you can count on him to be like different. Like anytime he does a sequel, it's going to be like way different than the original.
It's why I think we all as a group prefer the Star Wars prequels to the sequels, because while the prequels fail on a lot of things, George was doing something different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't feel like the original movies, except in very specific moments.
Yeah, but it does feel like it's like a genuine sequel, not a we just got to redo it again.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I like Dr. Sleep a lot, is that it means one of the reasons. I have a lot of reasons, but it doesn't feel like we're just going to, like Force Awakens, it's just New Hope again. Last Jedi, we're just going to be Empire / Return / bullshit again.
I was talking to Joe a little bit earlier today or yesterday, and when trying to describe like what type of sequel Dr. Sleep is, I said it's kind of like a mix of what 2010 is to 2001.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moments where it is able to have kind of a similar atmosphere and a similar like slow feeling that The Shining has, but it also is a lot like First Blood and Rambo First Blood Part 2, where it's like this has like moments where it's a lot more action packed, a lot more moments of I feel like this flies directly in the face of what the first film was doing, but at the same time, it does end up feeling consistent.
Dr. Sleep with the third act rides such a fucking line of, we're basically going like, isn't this fucking awesome? But at the same time, like, no, it's still scary, though. You're still scared of the ghosts of the Overlook. You're not entirely rooting for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great. And I kind of also feel like this movie is a lot like Blade Runner 2049. Where most of the film is like a very different but similar but really different, like its own thing for the most part, until towards the third act. Like I love how like in kind of spoilers for 2049, which you should go fucking see right now.
And 2010. These are three examples of sequels made decades later that are actually good.
Yeah. Yep. Which is fuck yeah, but in 2049 it's been the whole movie no Harrison Ford. Yeah, they talk about things that happened in the past, much like in Dr. Sleep, where we reference the Overlook because Danny Torrance was there.
Sure.
We say Jack Torrance, but like it's sort of like it's all like it makes sense. It doesn't feel forced. It's like, oh well, like kids become their fathers, so of course now Danny Torrance with the shine to suppress it and having like all these ghosts come after him and his downbeat alcoholic and insane trying to kill his mom would of course drink. I think I would drink too.
Yeah. In fact, I'd be understanding of your alcoholism. I'd be like, no, you probably are taking the less powerful stuff.
Yeah, and then in the third act of 2049, all of a sudden, Deckard shows up.
Right.
And then Rachel becomes important. And then what happens in the first film really affects this movie more than it did previously. I feel like Dr. did the same thing where it's like, oh, okay. Once they get closer to the Overlook, it's like, it kind of felt like I felt with like the drive to the Overlook when they were going back. Felt like the drive to the desert that Kay does in 2049.
Right.
And I don't know, but you were saying, Nathan, before I cut you off with that.
No, that's pretty much it. How it does this really interesting thing of being very different stylistically while also being like, I can see these things happening after the events of the Kubrick film.
I was monitoring like the film so fucking closely to like no, it's and it's not like, again, because I said that I had some issues, but it's not like I'm expecting Mike Flanagan to like replicate Kubrick exactly, especially because
nor should he, I think.
Well, no, we'll get into it. I mean, like, but I'm not saying that because, of course, like, they cut stuff out, and this movie is still longer than the Kubrick movie, and they have more plot in it.
Yeah.
So you can't be as languid, but there was, like, bits where I was definitely like, okay, like, this isn't too tonally disparate for me to, like, feel weird if I watch them back to back.
No, in fact, I actually, I went at the theater, I thought about doing a cut where you do one long movie. But the bit where Danny, like, he rides, like, in The Shining, stops, looks at room 234, and then it cuts, and, like, Wendy and Jack have that whole fight. I think it'd be cool if you, like, insert the shot of, like, the dark doorway, have it lean out, and then you cut, like, then you keep going, and then you're like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Because I feel like, you know, and it's definitely, like, a weakness of being in the Shining sequel was that the bloated woman didn't feel as important per se to Danny because it is good to have stuff off screen. Showing instead of telling is also great, and not to criticize Kubrick, but you know.
See, I disagree. I think it's redundant to show the woman scaring people twice the same way. I think it's better to like you don't know what's in the room, so then when Jack goes in and that's like, oh, it's a beautiful woman, you're like.
It is good for that, yeah, but definitely in this movie he's really haunted by her more because the bloated woman's so important in The Shining. I mean, in Doctor Sleep, that like I felt like from what I had heard, she was kind of more personal to Danny in the book. Maybe am I wrong on that? It's what I heard online. Again, not having read the novel.
No, it's about the same. You just get. I think there's points where we should go into like The Shining and then the Doctor Sleep book because it will really provide context. Because like in the book it's like you get to see the encounter with her with Danny, and that's what they show in the Shining miniseries. In the book, there's this bit where he goes in, and of course, Stephen King, he's really good at suspense, so there's the bit where he gets to the door and then it opens. I think he turns around and she's gone, and then like the door is still open, and then she pulls him back in by the neck, and then it cuts in the book. I'm pretty sure.
Interesting. Okay.
But that's a good transition to the beginning of the movie because we open and we basically show a recreation of Dan just bicycling around, and he goes by 237.
And from what I remember of the movie, he's always turning left, and in Doctor Sleep, he's always turning right whenever he's riding the bicycle.
Oh.
And that could just be like them making it different because definitely I feel like in Doctor Sleep, a version of Kubrick's film did happen.
Well, see, that's where it gets like sticky because it's like because Flanagan opted not to do like the creepy CGI replicas of people. He just recasted people.
Honestly, thank God. I'm sick of seeing that shit.
Well, to preview my thoughts, I liked Dick, Halloran, and Wendy, but I think Jack was a bit more.
I think Jack was just fine. The reason why I like the actor who played Jack, not just because it's E.T. guy, but
Henry Thomas, which we saw him in Gerald's Game. So
yeah, and he's in Hill House.
Yes,
he's great. Let me hit it right now. This is your BuzzFeed things you missed in Doctor Sleep. You can make a shitty thumbnail if you want to have in this section.
I could.
You could. You won't.
I'll make it.
Will you just steal?
I was all right with that being implied, but you could have just said that. Yeah.
Will you steal? This is probably not even the edit. Will you just steal like a BuzzFeed actual Doctor Sleep shitty thumbnail?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, future Nathan. But the girl in the opening who plays Violet is also the girl who plays young Nellie in Hill House.
Yep.
One of the guys in the what are they called? The Knot?
The True Knot.
The True Knot.
Yeah.
The one who's like number 19.
Oh, Barry the Chunk.
He plays the gardener / caretaker of the thing in Hill House. And then you have the Jack Torrance who is in we already said it. Yeah. But has a few little regulars. Unfortunately his wife couldn't be in it because she just gave birth. She was pregnant at the entirety of Hill House. And they had to cover it up the more they went on shooting. So much needed rest.
But we get this opening, and then Dan looks into 237, just like the Kubrick film. But it's interesting because it's like, in the original Shining movie, he like goes to room 237, he touches the doorknob, and then he leaves. But in this version, kind of the door comes ajar, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then you get this is when I was really just intrigued, because the image of the woman coming out of the door is like the same as the original movie, but it's like in shadow, so it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's creepy because I think Mike Flanagan is because the reason why I thought he was the best, probably modern horror director you could have picked for this movie to be a sequel to Kubrick's Shining was that the most horror directors nowadays are so, and I don't know if it's because they are actually like this or because studios say they have to be like this.
Both.
It's probably a mixture of the two, but I'll not everyone because that's a generalization, but a lot of them statistically are heavily reliant on jump scares, on loud musical cues, really just shitty filmmaking. Yeah. Sorry, it's what it is. Mike Flanagan as a director does not do that. He does have jump scares, but when Mike Flanagan has a jump scare, I feel like he earned it.
I only counted 2 in this movie.
Yeah.
Because
in a 2.5 hour horror film, there was 2 jump scares, one per every hour and like 13 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, because similar to the Kubrick film, every time there was like a loud sting, it was never like loud for the purpose of surprising you. It was always loud for building the tension more. Which, if you watch both movies, like the only jump scares I remember is the light fixture near the caretaker room popping on. I remember that one was actually like, oh, okay, you got me.
But that's like what, 2 hours?
Oh, no.
2 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why, because I say Legend of Hill House also has the best jump scare ever. It's an episode, I think, 8. And it's literally one that, oh, dude, it fucked me up. Because like, it's such a slow, character-driven, and then just like this, it happens, and you're like, holy shit!
Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck? And then like
jump scares are like the F-bomb in a PG-13 movie. You use it like 2 of them and you use it right. You know?
Yeah. And I think Mike Flanagan is just, he's very slow, he's careful. It's all about like the characters and what they're going through and like that. And it's like, it's fucking, because I feel for everybody in this movie. It's like a primary character. Even some of the sub characters, like whenever Gramps is dying and Rosie gives that speech, I'm like, oh shit. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And even like the bit where Danny's like helping the guy die basically, and they're both singing. And like this character I met like a minute ago, and I already knew he was dying. He's in a fucking hospice. Mike Flanagan has this ability to maybe just like latch onto a character. Like, the moment I saw Billy, and he was like, "Hey man, like, are you okay?" Like, I was like, "All right, I love you. You're great." Like, just everybody. He just like, he's so good with character and like slowness and like really methodical. And most horror directors do not fucking do that.
No.
The fucking Conjuring movies, all the Paranormal Activities, fucking all these fucking movies that are just like, yeah, horror. I don't know, man. That's fucking good.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Not the ramble, but I rambled.
No, we did specify that this was going to be a lot of different things that tie into and relate to.
Yeah, we were talking about the actor who plays Jack Torrance, though, and I had a point that we lost in the shuffle.
Oh no, it's okay. We'll circle back around to that.
Okay,
that's 2 hours in. You know?
Okay.
But we basically following through on the through line of the woman from 237/217, if it's the book. She follows him
/315.
Well, apparently,
you go ahead.
I missed this, but the house that Danny and Wendy are living in when he sees the woman from room 237 again, the house number is 217. So that was his.
Well, also, the room where the first guy dies in the hospice is 217.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, haha.
I could skirt around.
Because again, it's like a quasi sequel.
Yeah.
It's like,
I know, but
it's like some version of what happened in some way, kind of.
We'll talk about
you know
it.
what? It's.
But the first, I think the first indication of that is the fact that in this version, Danny is visited by the ghost of Dick Halloran as opposed to actually meeting Dick Halloran.
Yeah, because he's still alive in the books, right?
Yeah.
But then later on, when he sees him in the hospice, he is dead. But he has to do like this complex thing of when someone dies, he has a chance to basically touch Dick's presence from the other side, and then they have that whole ghost scene.
Yeah.
So of the 2 Dick Halloran, there's 2 Dick Halloran scenes in this movie, I believe.
Yes.
No.
Oh wait, no,
there's a third.
There's a. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I forget it.
I forget what it is.
But anyway.
Oh, it's when he's in the after he fucks the girl and parties all night. He steals her money and
he's like, you don't want to do that. Yeah.
He's like blurry, like in the background, like you can always live with her money. And I was like, oh god.
But he is dead in this version, and then he's kind of explains how to do the lock boxes. When I was reading the book, when I got to that bit in the opening when Dick has that conversation, I'm like, oh fuck yeah, this is so satisfying.
Yeah, the whole bit where he's like, listen, I'm putting together a team of boxes. You need to put them into. That was just great. Just like whenever I saw that scene, because again, going in, I had no idea what Dr. Sleep was about.
Sure.
So I was like, oh, this is gonna be a good time.
So I will say, and we'll circle to what the film does with it.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, so in the book,
Right.
we have this bit of Danny seeing the woman from 237 again, and then locking her away in his mind box, and then at the end of the movie, or at the end of the book, I should say. Sorry, in the Dr. Sleep book, he locks the woman away in his mind box, and then towards the end of the book,
and
when
Horace.
it's like, what?
And Horace.
Well, yeah, because he only
yeah.
locked 2 people. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, so in the book, he only catches the 2 of them.
Yeah.
Those are the only 2.
They're the only
Overlook
2 get
ghosts
out,
that he
yeah.
has. And then when he decides to open it and unleash him, only Horace is left, and the woman from 237 has, like, turned to dust.
Yeah.
So
That's really weird.
I'm gonna put a pin in that, but that's what the book does with the Ghosts of the Overlook, as opposed to...
Which, as soon as I saw this trailer, I was like, yeah, I totally know what they're gonna do. They're gonna, since we have the Overlook now, they're gonna have all the ghosts trapped instead of just 2. Which is for the better, because...
Which is great, because like he just fucking memes Rosie, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Which is such a good, just like, oh yeah, fuck you. It's like the bit in The Hobbit where like Galadriel and Gandalf and Saruman all fight, but like,
but
more
good.
satisfying.
but like way more satisfying.
Doesn't go on for 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Although, I'll bring it up when we get there, but I have a similar complaint.
Because while I hate that scene in The Hobbit, I also fucking love it. Like, I'm like, if this was in like a fan movie, I'd be so here for it, but this isn't an actual production.
That's fair. But at the same time that Danny has
You
become
disagree with me, it's okay.
has become the Ghost Trapper, we see our first glimpse of the True Knot as they are recruiting Snakebite Andy.
Yeah, so...
So I will say, in the book,
God.
this character is fucking unbearable.
and she's barely in it, and she's even less in this movie.
Can you take a shot every time there's Satan in the books?
That's, you
Yeah,
know.
go ahead.
I will say that I still really don't like her in the movie, but she's in it even less than the book, so it makes it a little better. And it makes
cut
her,
out the gay shit,
It actually makes her death really hilarious in the movie.
Oh, it's so funny, because it's like, oh, you did nothing.
Because so
Oh, I didn't think it was funny at all. It was kind of depressing.
Oh, well, it is, but it's even worse in the book.
Maybe not her death, but when she goes, fucking men. That's where it's like...
Okay, that was bad.
Okay.
I will admit.
Imagine if that's the entirety of her character. That's the book.
No.
Yeah, that's her whole character.
Oh, thank...
So you know the bit in the stand where they have the woman who, like, just hates men?
Yeah.
That's the same character.
God.
Yeah.
Steven, what are you doing?
It's like, oh, my dad was bad. That means all men are bad. And
So I'm gonna kill people.
You know
And
what?
it's like,
Mike Flanagan is a mercy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he cut out a bit, but they basically adapted that scene almost exactly, aside from the fact that in the book Dan like tortures her and like pokes his fingers into her shot off jaw.
Yeah.
So
get her to speak. But so Andy is basically very good at hypnotic suggestion and knocking people the fuck out.
Yeah, they call her a pusher.
Yeah. And
In the movie.
in the movie. I think one of the things that makes this adaptation really difficult with writing the line is the shine itself. Because in Kubrick's film, Tony doesn't really feel like this imaginary friend, and it doesn't really feel like Danny is psychic per se. It feels like he is being, like, possessed by a demon. And then, like, I feel like we get a tiny hint of that in Dr. Sleep, but it transitions out to more like...
See, there was the bit where they started talking about Tony, and I'm like, please don't explain it, because I know that you easily could. Because so do you know who Tony actually is?
No, wait.
I'm
gonna stop you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit you with what I think before you ruin it for me for the rest of my life.
Go ahead.
All right. So when I said rewatch The Shining, I watched like half of it, then I fell asleep.
Okay.
Not because it's boring. It's just it was a long day, and I just fell asleep. But I always what did I think of Tony before Dr. Sleep? I guess I just sort of like, yeah, maybe I thought it was just sort of the Overlook fucking with them.
Like it was connected to him even then.
Yeah, well, kind of like how when some people might hate me, but the Silent Hill movie, Cheryl talks about Silent Hill before she gets there. She sees visions of it. She's talking about it, which is what drives the mom to bring her to Silent Hill to figure out what's up with it. I kind of felt like that was kind of maybe it, or it was
No.
or it was a ghost, or it was just like the shine itself. And then there's a bit in the movie where Abra says, "I thought you were my imaginary friend." And then Danny's like, "I thought I had an imaginary friend too once, but it was just the shine."
Yes.
And I was like, wait a minute. Or is that a person? And then later on, he says it again. Where it's like, oh, no. Tony is just my name for the shine. And then I was like, okay, so never mind. Is Tony actually a real person?
Okay, so all right. So
You're smiling.
So I will say, Dr. Sleep, Mike Flanagan, thank you for not like over explaining it, because I think they kind of did like the 2010 thing where they were like, we're gonna explain it, but you still have more questions. We're not gonna like actually explain it.
Right.
But in the first book, at the end, it's revealed that Tony is in fact Danny from the future.
No, fuck you.
It's
because
teenage.
his middle name is Anthony.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck you.
Yeah, so that's what they reveal in the book.
How is it that the mom never, like, the scene in the psychiatrist where she's like,
Yes.
when did Tony start popping up? Oh, well, maybe it's because his middle name's Anthony, so...
Well, in the book, there's this scene where Stephen King cheats because the psychiatrist talks to them and is like, well, of course you know why his imaginary friend is named Tony, and they're like, yeah, we do. And then it just cuts, and you're like...
Yeah.
Oh, fuck off.
And it's also even worse in the Dr. Sleep book.
Yes.
Because Abra does not immediately come into contact with Danny. She comes into contact with Tony, who then comes into contact with Danny. And in Abra's perception, Danny is Tony's dad.
Yes.
So, again, trimmed some of that.
I will say this.
Got rid of that.
Mike Flanagan, again, you're a saving grace, because my perception of this story is just the movie, so...
Well, because I love how Kubrick keeps it completely ambiguous.
Yeah.
Like, Tony is terrifying, because you're like, I have no idea what this is. It seems to be helping him by telling him not to go to the hotel.
You know what? Tony is just the shine. What you said to me
and
is fake news.
And to be fair, part of that... So I think you told me that Danny Lloyd improvised the finger thing. Did he also come up with the voice, or was that Kubrick?
He as far as I'm aware, he came up with the finger, and he came up with the little boy who lives in my mouth.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if the voice was him, but it might have been. But he came up with like those really creepy details about Tony that were just like, okay.
But yeah,
sure.
So the main thing is, it was really interesting to see. Again, I have to watch the movie again, so I can't point out like a specific moment of, oh, this is when it transitions, but I feel like Dr. Sleep, the movie, does a pretty good job of transitioning from, oh, The Shining is this really creepy, like possibly demonic thing, to like, it's kind of like psychic superpowers.
It's kind of fun.
It's like, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, because like there's the whole thing where it's like, like the baseball kid, where it's like, he has the shine, but it's more of like, it helps improve him athletically.
Mm-hmm.
And like, some people are different, like, Snakebite Annie's a pusher. She's influential.
Yeah.
There's someone in the book, Dr. Sleep, who can turn dim. That'll come back later.
Yeah, like shit like that, where it's like, okay, like The Shining is just like, again, I'm also never, I don't know if I'll ever be clear on The Shining, what it is. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're reading through all the Dark Towers.
Well,
shit.
In The Stand, they make a point of saying, I think you should have reached this point.
Mother Abigail talks about having the shine.
Well, because there's a point later
the Lord
on
has a shine on you.
Yeah, there's a shine on you. There's a point later in the book, this isn't really a spoiler, where a character hypothesizes, we see humans always had the shine, and we all do, but over time, was it really beneficial to our mental health to know when our loved ones died? Maybe we just ignored that part of ourselves.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, so they make a point of...
In The Stand, there's a bit where like, Leo Rockaway is at a certain character's house. I won't say who's, just for spoilers, and he's sort of like, just, no.
But yeah, we have this scene where we get introduced to Rose the Hat and Crow Daddy, who are watching Snakebite Andy tell this guy that he shouldn't have been. The guy says, you were pretty in your picture, not you're older than your picture. But she actually. So when I was watching it, I was like, oh well, is he really like a pedophile? Or but then later on she's like, no, I am 15. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But she's a pusher, and then they're like, okay, like we can give you eternal youth, and then in the book, this is a bit where like she fucks Snakebite Andy, and it's like the best night of her life, and then she's like, yeah, but Crow Daddy is who I'm with, so we're not gonna do this again. And she's like, I'm still in love with you.
I gotta cut that.
In the book, they have...
I actually think it's interesting. I'm sorry.
So they also cut from the movie the 9/11 subplot.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So
Okay.
so Sal.
And I'm wrapping this around to the true knot because, well, yeah.
But I'll go into detail on the 9/11 thing. So Sal, picture if so Abra is born to this young couple. Now,
in the book, does she also watch Ruby, or is it because it's set in the past? It's references blue.
No, that's some. Yeah.
Wow, Mike Flanagan's a hack fraud 0 to 10.
but so her parents each have a nightmare, same night, of her being in trouble. I think in her dad's nightmare it's way worse, but
it's like she's in a shopping mall and there's people screaming, running around, and
if you tell me that Abra caused 9/11,
no, that would be silly.
Did Danny cause 9/11?
No.
The true knot?
No. Although, well,
we'll get to that.
So
fuck my dick.
So I think her mom dreams that when she's in danger, she sees 11 written on her stomach.
Oh, fuck off.
And then her dad dreams that he sees 175 written on her stomach. And there's this one day where she just won't stop crying or screaming at all, and then it just shuts off. And then you find out with the numbers for the planes, 9/11 were flight 11 and flight 175.
So
and the
was
day
she
that she
experiencing...
was and the day that she was screaming and couldn't stop crying, she cut off immediately after the planes hit the towers.
and the true and then that's intercut. This isn't the same chapter, but it's intercut where the true knot mention, oh yeah, we haven't had a huge disaster where we could feed off the steam where a bunch of people died. And it's like, oh, we were there in New York at 9/11 and we just fed off all that suffering. And I'm like, oh my god.
But again, to be fair, to put this into perspective,
right?
The Shining book takes place in 1977. The Dr. Sleep book takes place in 2013.
Yeah.
The Shining movie takes place in 1980.
Yeah.
The Dr. Sleep movie takes place in 2019. So there's room to work around 9/11 and not.
Well, 2011 and 2019.
Yeah, but the book does that too.
Okay.
It jumps forward.
Yeah, because all of Danny getting ready in that town, I believe, is all in 2001. Or no,
it's 2009. Or something, but there's a lot of stuff of him.
Or no, it's because he gets his 10-year sobriety thing at the end of the Dr. Sleep book.
Oh yeah,
so
you're
it's
right.
So I think he gets into town in 2001, shortly after 9/11, if you will. So
I will say, Mike Flanagan again. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. Most of the stuff they cut was for the better.
Yes,
it just, for me, having read the book, I was like, oh shit, we're catapulting through this plot.
I can imagine Mike Flanagan reading Doctor Sleep with a red pen and just being through a whole chapter of that, just a line by line, just.
So speaking of, there was before I saw this movie, there was there's a very, very important opening to the Dr. Sleep book that I was really afraid they were going to cut. That involves Danny's first scene where he wakes up next to this woman who doesn't remember fucking, sees he's completely out of money, and
throws up in a shit-filled toilet bowl.
Yeah, and then is taking money from her purse when her baby sees it. And then the baby runs over to the coffee table where there's still a hefty amount of crack, thinking it's candy, and Dan grabs the kid and cleans off the drugs and puts it out of reach, and then puts the kid with her mom. And I thought that was going to be completely cut.
Yeah, or toned down.
Or toned down.
Kind of was.
But it's actually kind of worse in the movie because he doesn't...
he leaves it on the table!
Yeah, he doesn't clean the drugs off.
I was like, what the fuck?
And is that why later the mom and the kid are dead in his dreams?
That's one thing about the movie is when they pop up again and they never pop up again, I was like, what? But in the book they pop up 8 times. But I mean I understand, but I
gotta cut it.
I know. I wish there had been one more scene where he's like, no, it's okay. Because in the book I think there's a bit where he sees her ghost again and she's like, it's okay, you can let go now, and he's like,
well, because that's again, I feel like this movie did a really, really good job of portraying his alcoholism, which I didn't think they were gonna do. But that was that opening scenario was one of his key driving points I'm 10 years sober, but this is this one terrible thing I did that I can never tell anyone. And his big thing is finally letting it go.
I love the bit where after everyone's dead, his best friend's dead, Abra's kidnapped.
Yeah.
He's wrestling with that bottle for feels like ages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just so fucked up.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. Like when he like puts his lips on, he's like, it just throws it. And I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah, it's great. Like
This is my boy.
like that scene was a very good kind of crystallization of all the times he drove past a bar and then didn't thought about going in and stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
But then again, Mike Flanagan did a great job in this opening where, true to the book, as Danny is waking up, he is remembering. He's like, wait a minute, how did I get here? I was at a bar, I was playing pool, there was like this amazing looking chick next to me. And then like as it goes on, he's like, okay, she wasn't that great looking, and then I punched a guy in the face I hit him with the ball. Okay, so it's like cutting back and forth as he's like waking up and I'm like, what a great way to like illustrate that without having him go ask the woman like, where were we? We were at a bar or something, because
like a less tactful director / writer would have
or they would have the bar scene first and it'd be like, well, okay.
Yeah, so I think immediately fucking hats off to Ewan McGregor. Like, holy shit.
Are we not gonna suck his dick now? Was this the moment?
I think so. I think
so.
I think we need to. Obi-Wan, you're
Oh no, yeah, I was gonna say that in the opening when he has the beard, that's the fucking Obi-Wan beard, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't thinking that. I was
he's filming Kenobi.
It must be true.
But yeah,
But he does a great job in this movie.
Yeah, he does.
Hats off.
There was bits where he like eerily looked like Jack Nicholson, kind of. Yeah. Like the way his cheeks would move, like it'd be in shadow at like profile, I'd be like, is that fucking Jack Nicholson?
Yeah, he's really good at doing the eyebrow arches, but subtly, so it doesn't look like he's satirizing Jack Nicholson. And so much of so many of his lines made me think of Jack Nicholson in his first scene in The Shining when he's doing his interview. It's not like his super psychotic Jack Nicholson voice that we hear, but it's his very like, well, that sounds great to me.
Well, that's fine. She's a horror film addict.
Yeah.
She's a bona fide horror film addict.
They'll love it.
There's not
also BuzzFeed things you miss in Doctor Sleep. Ewan McGregor, when he's in the hospice reading the same magazine as Jack Torrance is waiting for the interview.
Playgirl?
Yeah. Same 78 issue or whatever.
Yeah.
But he also gets interviewed for his hospice job in a room that is the same as...
Yeah, if you missed it, did you miss it in the movie? They had Jack Torrance cameo.
I missed it, to be honest.
I love it.
I didn't. Where's Here's Johnny? It was in It Chapter 2.
I need
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, no, like when the moment I realized, like, okay, so they made a sequel to The Shining, and It Chapter 2 does Here's Johnny. Okay, like, I think you have graduated to, like, being good art, and you get to stay down there in bad art.
Well, It Chapter 2 can suck my fucking dick and die, but to do a little side trail, which you can keep in or leave, I don't care.
No.
I just want to talk about it. In Hill House, there is a very common thing where Mike Flanagan does a really great job, which is not in Doctor Sleep, which kind of makes me upset, but it makes sense because all the ghosts in the Overlook are in the boxes, so they're captured, so you can't quite really do this up until the end where all the ghosts are let out. In Hill House, since the house is so haunted, there are ghosts everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing he does, instead of like focusing on the ghosts and that are in the background, having stings or music, there's just ghosts in the background of certain shots that are just standing there, watching. Underneath the thing, on top of the thing, side of a thing, behind a thing. There's just like ghosts. Because it is a haunted house.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, they're not the prevalence of the scene, but like, you know, you're watching a scene, they're having a nice family dinner, in the background you see there's like a guy watching from the very far hallway, which is great. There's this fucking like BuzzFeed Vox fucking esque video where it's like the hidden ghosts in Hill House.
You mean if you watched the movie?
Every hidden ghost. Remember how we watched the first episode and then the very opening scene after the whole like the dad tries to get them all to sleep. They're finally asleep and they're finally actually going to bed and Nellie's sleeping, the little girl. The ghost like puts her head from out of the shadows into frame and it's the bent neck lady and it's like, they marked that as a hidden ghost. And I'm like, it's literally...
No, see, it's if you blink 15 times per second. Then you might miss some things.
Per second.
Yeah,
Well, there's no music cue. How do I know?
Yeah, they didn't go... It's like, fuck off. Sorry, I'm a little high.
But yeah, so Dan Torrance shows up in town. He sees this awesome fucking little mini train just driving around.
Man, I want this thing.
Teeny town.
Teeny town.
And he's like, "Hey, this is really interesting, checking it out." And then the guy who drives the train comes up to him, and he's just so nice. And like, again,
no, Billy's a great boy.
Billy is a wonderful human being.
I think they only did it once where he was like, "Yeah, I just had a feeling about it." Well, they bring that back.
No,
yeah, they do. Yeah,
they bring that back
because Danny. Sorry, I hate you twice.
You did.
I'm sorry. Abuse on the escape pod. Danny kind of decides he's gonna help Abra. He goes down to the building and says, "Hey, you're always a good judge of character. You can always tell when someone's like being like I'm gonna tell you a story, and if you believe me, you know." And then it's kind of are you implying that maybe Billy had a little shine in him?
Well, the book's more clear about it, but in the movie it's left more ambiguous, which is good.
Which is good.
But yeah, so he gets all set up in this town, helping people at a hospice.
$85 a week, hotel on a giant blackboard wall.
Which again,
I want a giant blackboard wall.
That's such a Joe. I won't speak for you, but I think, in my opinion, that was also another nice, efficient trimming and combining from the book. Because in the book, he starts working lawn maintenance at this place. Gets a crummy little apartment, and it's a seasonal job. And then after he's done working there, then he goes to the hospice, works there for a little bit, and then he clears out this room that has the blackboard wall, and then it's his place. But instead, they're just like,
yeah, this is efficient.
Yeah,
it's a very, very efficient film.
Like when you say these things to me, like, oh yeah, in the book this happened, but like it took 18 years to get there. I'm like, man, thank God I fucking watched this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I like the Dr. Sleep book more than the Shining book, but...
Because I know that Stephen King can go on.
Yes, he can.
I know he can go on.
He has a whole section in The Shining that's revolving around the wasp nest. That's like 100 pages.
Yeah. So he gets all set up, and there's this adorable and creepy little cat that just goes around.
Wait, creepy? This cat's amazing.
It's adorable, but it also has, like, you know, an unwavering gaze that I can... Like, I think it was... I think
the first scene it was more eerie, and then the second scene they're, like, more showing the whites of its eyes.
Yeah.
Like, it was glancing around more to make it seem more friendly, whereas in the first scene you kind of just saw the dark part of its eyes as it was staring forward.
Dude, that cat showed up. I think my whole theater went, aw.
Oh, I think it's really cute, but it's also, you know, it's got a gaze that I like, but also find mine.
You know, I can't see that.
It's
but
the Grim Reaper.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, again, it's the fact that it knows who's going to die and sits in their bed and watches them.
Isn't that a thing though? That like it is
animals can tell. Yeah.
No.
Similar to how they can tell when they're about to die and they'll leave, so you don't have to watch them die.
Also, yeah. I mean, I know I'm a little jumping ahead, but the cat going into the room and Danny can like, wait, there's no one in there. I'm like, oh,
that was really good.
Cause every time the cat goes into the room, you're like, oh, this is gonna be sad, but like, man, look at Danny like have a purpose in life, and it's like, wait, no one's in there, and it's like, don't you hurt him. Like, don't you hurt. And then he sees that figure, then it's like he instantly starts opening a box.
So yeah, he does, yeah.
And Dick's like, whoa!
He's like, oh, hold on now. But was there a tension for you that the boxes might prematurely open? Did that ever come into? Because for me, I knew that they wouldn't really. But...
I think throughout the film, I worried that because there's the bit where Rosie goes into Abra's head, which I'm not going to talk about it. Just she does it.
Oh yeah,
that's a whole section. That's a whole 20 minutes. But I was worried that she would go into Danny's head at some point, and then accidentally unleash like one or two.
I mean, she almost did. He stopped her, but
yeah. And so I was a little worried. I wasn't super tense, but in the back of my head I was like, she could theoretically get in there and open a box on accident or on purpose.
Also, I fucking love that Danny's little mind prison is set in the
hedge maze.
Oh, dude, that was great. And
because
it's
again,
in there.
Since that doesn't exist in the book, it's literally just, I have a closet with boxes.
Yeah.
And it's like...
Wait, the maze isn't in the book?
No.
Well, no, because it burned down. Remember? Like, it all burns down in the book, all of it.
Oh, I thought you meant the maze, like, in general, wasn't in the book.
I mean,
no,
it isn't, no.
It's not.
It's hedge animals that come to life and attack you.
Yeah.
Your face as you process that.
You're looking to me to contradict him and say, no, he's fucking with you.
No, the hedge animals are one of the main threats in the Shining book.
Yeah.
So, okay, let me get this clear. So you said, I asked you,
Yes.
so the maze is in the book, and you said, no, everything burnt away. And then I said, wait, so it's not in the book at all? And you said, oh no, there's hedge animals.
Sorry, when I... So my brain...
So was there a maze?
No.
There was no maze
Okay.
in either the Shining book or
That's what I wanted. I'm ignoring your fake news about the hedge animals.
No, that's real.
No, I deny you say...
No, I picked the easiest way to...
No, I deny you. I don't want you playing a clip. It's probably in the fucking miniseries. Don't play
Yes, it is, and it's CGI.
You have to... fuck off. Shut up. I fucking hate you people. You're so mean.
I just read the book. I had to read it.
See, it's great because
I saw it. I fought him.
It's great because I was introduced to the hedge animals through the series first, and I was like, oh, it's better in the book. It's like Weeping Angels or something, right? And it's like, no.
Well,
no.
The first encounter.
The first encounter with the hedge animals in the book is great.
This isn't a conversation that's happening.
But when you get to the last one where Dick Halloran gets to the hotel and the last thing he faces is not in fact Jack, but hedge animals slicing him up, then... The Kubrick film is so inferior to that book, The Shining.
But anyway, also while Dan is getting his life under control and the True Knots all murdering, there's this adorable little girl named Abra who makes some weird shit happen. She's got this magician at her party.
This magician is me at my job, where she's like, I can do it too. That's nice, sweetie.
Yeah, that's nice, sweetie.
I imagine like any of the It's Always Sunny guys doing that one.
All of them. Actually.
All of them.
Just that's great.
Like that's nice, sweetie. Also, like he's just
so. Wait a minute. How is this for you? Where so your context of The Shining is the movie.
Yes.
And then in this movie, Abra is suddenly like telekinetic as well. And it's like, oh, this is like way stronger.
So my idea of like The Shining as a concept.
Mm-hmm. Well, because in the first movie, he never directly moves anything with his mind that we see.
But what I got from this film was that there's different levels of The Shining that do different things.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, as you mentioned, apparently there's somebody who can make things dim.
They can basically cloak themselves. So that's in the Dark Tower books later, but that's why I said that's going to come back. But she basically goes dim, so she's like, if she's standing still, you can't see her.
So imagine it's kind of like fucking like X-Men. Like, you can just do different shit.
It is,
but it's like minor X-Men. But like, the thing about Abra, which is why she's like, the plot of the book, or the movie, is because she's so fucking powerful.
Yeah.
Like, she bitch slaps Rosie most of the fucking movie.
I will say that's probably one of my only flaws is that, and this is in the book to an extent too, is that really the True Knot were never a threat to Abra. She's way too powerful.
Yeah.
Like, she beats them every time. Except at the end where Dan,
Well, I will say that she has help, because I feel like if Dan/Billy never helped her, they theoretically you could drug her enough to the point and then do it super fast to where she'd be fucked up, because they do show her, like, I do think they're a threat. I think
they're a threat. I just feel like
they handle them well, though.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's this weird thing where it's not like there's no tension for me, because obviously we see like the slow torture of a child, so if they get the best of Abra, but it's just like almost every time it's like, well, okay, I take that back. The first time when Rosie gets into Abra's head, she freaks her out. Yeah, she gets blasted backwards, but she does do that.
But I will say, one thing I felt weird in the moment, but I was just wrapped up in the movie, so I didn't think about it too hard, but now upon recollection. So they fucking meme the True Knot.
Yes.
Which makes sense because they plan ahead. Danny, Billy, Abra, they're all smart. Even her dad, who's like a fucking like writer person, is smart. And they all kind of like have this plan of like, all right, so we're gonna lead them. Oh, by the way, I love the rabbit is used as a decoy.
Yeah, right.
And like they don't have like a super like have Dan pick it up and go, yeah, I have an idea. Because like a shitty director would have had it be like way more explicit. They're gonna use the rabbit, but they kind of like he kind of looks at it, and I'm like, why is it not the rabbit?
Yeah.
And then when it happened later, when they pulled the fast one, the True Knot, I was like, I see why the rabbit was there now. But they fucking meme them because they have like they pick the spot, they pick how it's gonna go down. They have fucking guns, and like it's all really well executed. But if Abra didn't have them, what's the fucking stop them?
Yeah.
And then even because you know, like maybe she can like take out one or two. There's some mind fuckery, but like just through sheer like physical force, it's like they're gonna drug you, they're gonna knock you out, and yeah, you'll come out of the drug, and maybe it'll lessen the how much steam they get, but you're a fucking buffet. They don't care.
Yeah.
Like there's so much there that it's like, yeah, it's lessened, but like honestly, fuck it. So I think they were a true threat. My one problem though is that at the end they're like, oh, we have to like go to the Overlook to fight Rosie, and I'm like, okay, yeah, because me as an audience member, I just watched her huff 3 canisters.
Yeah, so she's bullshit. Yeah.
They don't know that.
No, but
why didn't Danny just be like, well, how about like we do that again?
We just do it together, right?
And
well, that's
this time you're really there, not a decoy. She'll expect that. But I'll just fucking shoot her in the face.
Yeah.
What's to stop me?
Yeah.
But I feel like they could have done a thing where like Abra like tries to go like, all right, well, I don't know where Rosie is, but like I'm not sure where she is, so we have to know how much time we have. And then she like gets into her head and like does the thing again because they never use it again in the whole movie. It kind of, now that I'm thinking about it, upsets me. Where she sees through Rosie's eyes. I would have loved it if we cut to her in Rosie's eyes as she's huffing the canisters. And she goes,
that would have been good.
And she goes, oh, fuck, listen. Like, and I imagine Abra saying, oh, fuck, listen.
No, she totally would. That's in character.
Like, oh, fuck, listen. So she just inhaled a lot of steam, and I don't want to know how that goes down.
Yeah.
And Dan's like, all right, well, she's probably really powerful now. I have an idea. Because if it was just like, because from their perspective, she's just like them. They can get fucking.
At the same time, I don't believe. I could be wrong about this. They might also not know how many members are left of the True Knot. So it could just
it's at least Rosie.
Yeah. So it could be just another case of. Plus, Billy's dead now, so they're down a guy. So they're like, okay, we have to pick the battlefield again. And this time,
I don't think it's too much. I think that
it's not terrible. It's just
no, not at all. I think it's honestly, when I say the movie moves at a breakneck speed to get to the Overlook, like as soon as they meme the True Knot, and then it's like she gets away from Crow Daddy, and it's immediately like, we're going to the Overlook, and it's like, I mean, I'm happy to be here. It's just like, wow, how much movie do we have?
Thanks, Overlook. We're happy to have you.
Yeah. So
is there a lot cut there? Will we get into it? Should we just go through the plot still?
All right.
So just restructured a bit.
It's restructured, and they cut out the measles.
So I was gonna. So
measles aren't a threat.
So Salvatore. Salvatore.
I don't like that you use like not only my full name but the correct pronunciation. What's up?
That's because I respect you.
Oh, I love you too.
So I wanna ask you, how many members are there in the True
Knot? Okay. I'm a little high, so I gotta think about this.
No, it's okay. Based on what you have seen in the movie.
Okay, so we got Snakebite Girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
/ Hard Candy Girl. We got Rosie.
Mm.
We got Crow Daddy.
Yeah.
We have Big Chunker.
That's
We got Gramps.
Yeah.
Who died?
There's this. I think there's like 2 other girls.
Yes.
There's Glasses Guy, and then there's like some other dude that's like around sometimes.
I think that's right. Yeah, I think there's 9.
I'm gonna say 9
like
True
9.
Knot.
Because I remember seeing 8 in the trees and then Rosie.
Yeah.
So that was my figure going, okay,
Okay.
the True Knot's a bit smaller.
All right, Regis, I'm gonna say 9. Final answer.
So I believe in the book.
Like that reference?
I love any time like Nathan starts to point himself, like, I have to congratulate myself. Did you like that? And I'm like, I understood that reference.
So prep your shot glasses. In the book, there's, I believe they say they're in like the low 40s. There's like 40.
Yeah, there's like
I'm
40.
sorry, what?
Yeah.
And they have like 8 mobile home things.
Yes.
Wait.
Yeah. So
Go fuck yourself.
So you know
and they have like an accountant and
so you know that horrific scene where they abduct Baseball Boy and murder the shit out of him, which was absolutely chilling. Like fucking hats off to that kid. I officially pardon you for being in The Predator. That was way
He was in The Predator?
Was him?
He was
redeemed.
Was he the autistic?
He was super autism.
Oh.
Huh. Eat my ass burgers.
I think being in a movie that horrifying would make me
That's all I know about that movie.
Purging fire.
So, according to IMDb trivia, it's put in your BuzzFeed things you miss in Doctor Sleep. But don't choke me. Don't do that. We're friends here.
He's a friend on drugs, though. Like,
I feel nothing.
We're both friends on drugs.
That's true. But continue.
I have low tolerance. Apparently, the kid, like, when they first did that take, it was so horrifying that, like, the chick who played Rosie couldn't remember her lines. And, like, everyone was so freaked out that after it was done, like, the kid got up, high-fived his dad, and walked over to where the food was.
I read that, too.
Yeah.
Talk about owning, like, a bunch of experienced actors.
Yeah, that kid's dick was so big.
No, that scene was, like, I was watching it, and I'm like, yes, I was hoping that you would not hold back from how truly awful the True Knot is in the book, because they just do, like, it goes into pretty, like, excruciating detail in the book, too, but in the movie, it's like, no, like, they, like, kind of push the knife down when he's, like, almost dead, but
no, I thought, like, in my brain when I was watching it, like, we need to have them experience pain, and she, like, almost stabs, like, in his, like, stomach dick area, and he screams. I'm like, okay, now we're gonna cut.
No.
Now we're gonna cut. We're cutting now, right? And just wouldn't.
No.
And then just that last bit where she's, like, shoving his chest down to get the last of it.
The fact that it's, like, the entire fucking thing makes me feel like the one scene I wrote in a book that had child death is, like, fucking nothing now. I'm like, I have to go back.
I have to make it work.
Yeah, you gotta pump those numbers.
Well, because I love that's, like, how they portray the True Knot. They're very, like, centered and calm and powerful and confident. And then as soon as someone dies and their steam comes out, they just race over like fucking animals. Like,
poor Gramps. Which is also why the scene's so great, because they have this whole big, like, monologue about how amazing he is.
And then as soon as he dies.
And then he dies, there's, like, 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Maybe 3.
Eat it.
And then just go.
Which I'm really happy about them adding that, because in the book,
Yeah.
when they cycle out, they're just gone and there's nothing. And so I like that the movie has it go, yeah, and then they ate a bunch of steam, so all of that goes out. Like, I think
that's kind of great.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
But in the book, so they eat baseball boy, whose name is Bradley Trevor.
Right.
But it turns out Bradley Trevor
never mind.
had the measles, and that translated through the steam they ate, and they're adults, so they're getting the measles, and they're dying. So the reason they need to get Abra is because she had a booster shot, so she'll cure them of the measles, but also she's really powerful.
So like, the reason why there's like 40 is because like half of them die before the climax.
Yeah. Because
they're all just dying, and they're like, we need to get her. More people are getting the measles, and
so then there's that amount that was killed in the film is basically the Endeavor that went there, but then there's still like another group left with Rosie in the Overlook area.
But that's a whole.
We'll get there.
Wait, Rosie in the Overlook area?
So in
the book,
I need you to break it down.
Okay.
So in the book, where the Overlook Hotel was, there's now just a platform saying like "Roof of the World." I think is.
It's like a tall tower and a platform.
Yeah, but there's
cute.
But there's the Overlook Lodge, which is like a trailer park, but a nice trailer park, and that's where the True Knot hangs out because they're evil
and they can absorb evil from the fallen Overlook.
Yeah.
And so it's reversed where they chase them to the Overlook remains.
Yeah.
But in the movie it's so much better because it's like, no, they're fighting where I know how bad it is. Yeah.
Mike Flanagan, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because especially
saved my soul.
Because how they kill the other True Knot members, because I like the ambush and I like the measles, but the way they kill the rest of them in the lodge is like so stupid.
It's the worst thing
Can you
ever.
elaborate?
Okay.
So
listen, we're already here. We're already like, what, an hour in?
We're an hour in.
No one cares anymore. This is a long one.
You remember Abra's grandma? Her Momo?
They mentioned her once in the movie for some reason.
Go on.
Her Momo's sick. Well, her Momo continues to be sick in the book until we get a scene where she's moved to Dan's hospice and Dan's with her. And then he's like, hey, you need to help me protect your granddaughter. And so there's a whole bunch of shit. There's a fake buildup of, is Dan gonna die? Because when he sees that someone is going to die, he sees flies all over them.
And in the movie, when he sees the mom and the kid again, there's the flies. I'm like, oh shit, they're doing him seeing the flies when people are about to die. Never comes back. And I'm like, well,
no,
okay.
not true.
What?
Not true. Comes back.
When I forgot what the bit.
Towards he's talking to, I think, Billy about how his mom died and how like the weeks before he kept seeing.
Oh yeah, he does. Thank you.
So after he met with shortly after he met with Abra's grandma, he sees flies all over his own face. And it's like, oh, because he's going to go fight the True Knot and he's probably going to die.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I know foreshadowing.
I feel like shit. I think I'm going to die before I get there. And it's like, what the fuck is wrong with Dan Torrance? And then they sneak into the Overlook Lodge. No.
That'd be really good, actually.
That would make sense. That would, you see.
This is appendix, isn't it?
No.
Sorry, the stand.
So they have this ruse to distract Rosie, because they basically have like a Abra call her and go, hey, we're gonna fight one-on-one and leave your goons.
There's so many times where Abra just calls Rosie a sloppy bitch. Like, almost, that's not really hyperbole. She calls her a bitch at least, like, 10 times.
I do like Abra being a sassy little fucking kid.
It's great. But so, all of the True Knot...
saying these fucking, like, goody two-shoes bitches, like, fucking Stranger Things ass, fucking motherfucker shit.
Yeah. But so all of the True Knot who didn't get massacred by them in the shootout are chilling,
or the measles
are chilling in the Overlook Lodge, and they sneak in, and then Danny opens one of his boxes, and the box is Abra's grandma, and her grandma died of cancer, so he just cancered them to death,
and it's like,
and then Danny's cured and he's fine
because and it's really bad because, as we said, you're like, oh, is Mrs. Massey gonna come out? No, just Horace Derwent. Only one of the Overlook ghosts actually fights the True Knot. What?
We're currently draining the steam out of Sal now. He's dying.
And see, and
are you the True Knot?
Well, and understand
my suffering you're feeding
and
on?
Understand this: the Dr. Sleep book is better than the Shining book, in my opinion.
Oh,
so the Shining book is pretty rough, honestly.
Yeah,
like it's good in parts, but it's equally bad in other parts.
I want to give a big shout out to Stanley Kubrick and Mike Flanagan.
Yeah, it's true.
So I'm glad everything you just said was cut. I think I'm gonna pray to God every day that happened.
I mean, I kept telling you, Sal, I was like, yeah, they just need to make the ending less anticlimactic, and it's because of that. Well, I haven't even talked about what they do with Rosie, but
do we want to? As long as we brought up, do we want to bring up the other?
If you say something
about Abra's family, that's
if you say something else, that's gonna make me mad. I swear to Christ.
Hey, but it's a thing that's not in the movie.
I mean, okay, all right. Who wants to give me? Who wants to pull the trigger?
So remember how Abra calls him Uncle Dan, and there's that whole thing where he's Tony's.
I swear to God, if they're related, I'm gonna fucking cry. No, fuck you!
Jack Torrance, he must have had a drunken bender and
my fucking
fucked
God.
some woman.
No,
and so she's actually your niece.
No, fake
Why?
news. No, fake.
No, it's
fake
true.
News.
And when they cut it in the movie, I'm like, oh, thank God, because
don't do this to me.
So I want
to let everyone know that they're on opposite sides of me. So I look back.
This is to increase your love of the movie. Trust me.
So it's really.
I think this is a masterpiece film now.
So it's
holy shit.
So it's really funny. Reading the Dr. Sleep book, I was like, okay, I can perfectly picture Ewan McGregor as Dan Torrance. Fits exactly like how I see it. But every time they describe Abra, it's like, oh, she's Italian, she's got blonde hair, and, it's like, okay.
You can't have Italians in our films, right?
Mm-mm. I mean, I was going to make that joke, like, yeah, they took out an Italian to put in a black person, so how does that
Thanks. Where's my representation? You know what?
Go watch The Godfather, you spaghetti maker.
Dude, hey, you're white. We got Ewan McGregor. What do you want?
It's a different continent.
That is correct, sir.
Listen, I'm just saying that every time there's a guy in a movie named Salvatore, he's probably a mob guy. I'm just saying, statistically. Oreo's money. All right, I'm just listen.
Do you not? Is that not a thing? You don't have connections? I can't
I mean, we don't want to look up those connections.
I think you should.
I'm not even joking.
Right you don't. I mean.
So we can't run any longer. Yeah, in the book, they do this really last minute, really shitty twist where, in context, everything we told you, this was my least favorite part of the book. Mm-hmm. Was just the bit where it's like, oh, now I know why you seemed familiar. Oh shit! Actually, you're related to me. That picture. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, Jack Torrance must have gotten drunk and fucked somebody. We don't know, but that's probably what happened.
Can I just say that if you're gonna erase an Italian character, at least make the mom like super Italian to compensate.
Which they don't do. I thought they were gonna do that, like, oh, one of them's Italian, one of them's black.
No, because
not
listen,
really.
it's okay to be racist against an Italian person.
Yeah.
You know, it's why like at my various customer service related jobs, if you just walk up and go, "Hey, are you in the mob? Hey, a pizza, spaghetti, hey," and it's me to fucking like go along with it. It's okay. We don't need representation. It's all right. It's whatever.
Dr. Sleep book
You should make
is
Larry
better than the
You should make Larry Underwood black because he sounded black.
We're not talking about the state.
I'm gonna piss somebody off, and I don't care.
So that said,
No one's gonna watch this video.
I don't think we've talked about it enough, but Abra. Fucking
Oh
awful.
no! Like
Yeah, she was great.
as much as I talk about Italian erasure, this kid is so good at acting.
I feel
this
like-
kid's so great.
I feel like if you want good kid actors, go to well-recognized Stephen King movies, and you'll probably get some good ones.
You will likely get a good kid actor.
Because this is her feature film debut.
That sounds right.
She did fucking great.
Yeah, no, she
killed it.
I never once said you're good for a child actor. The whole time I was like, you are an actress, and I respect your work.
She is good for an actor.
Yeah.
Because that's what she is.
And so that was great, because like any time that I'm not thinking about
And the bit that really that really impressed me was when she was in the car possessed by Danny.
that was really
And
good.
she got it fucking. She was Ewan McGregor. She fucking nailed it. I'm like, wow, that's I'm like, oh my gosh, she's been fucking acting the whole movie.
Yeah.
Like,
no.
oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And I love her all her interactions with Ewan McGregor are really good, which is one of the best parts of the book as well. Like them having psychic conversations.
Honestly, I wanted more of that.
Yeah,
I wanted like
it's
20 more minutes with them.
It's really cool. I was kind of looking forward to it. This is like one of the parts that I was a little sad to see gone, but I realize it's hard to do. Is that Abra basically introduces like emojis and comic strips into their psychic communication. So she'll just send visual pictures, and then he'll like edit hers to change the message, and she'll edit his. And I was like, I wonder how we'll do that. And that just got cut. And that's fine. Because again, if you included that, I feel like it would be even more separated.
Tonally, that would be
the
like
film.
off the wall. Like, in the book, it works because, well, the Shining book is wacky, but
It's already enough that you got fucking some weeaboo shit in here.
I can't believe that in a sequel to a Stanley Kubrick film, we have a poster of Ruby. What is this reality?
Yeah, no, and it's always weird to me because remember, like, again, I think I talk about this a lot, but it's because it's still just a mind fuck to my brain that like I grew up watching Red vs. Blue and Rooster Teeth from like a very young age, a very developmental age, I should say, because it didn't impact me on what I wanted to do with my career and my life. And I'm still very much used to it being a bunch of guys in like their spare bedroom making dumb videos. So it's still weird to see like to walk into a feature film starring Ewan McGregor, sequel to a Stanley Kubrick movie based on a Stephen King book, and to see something they made in it is just still like it feels weird. It's good though, but it kind of always catches me off guard, even though like I know I should expect it.
Well, see, I caught it in the trailer, and then I was wondering if they would change it for the movie, but I'm like, oh, technically the rights aren't an issue, are they?
No.
Well, because it was one of you that told me that she got to decorate her own room.
Yes.
To make it.
Yeah, I looked it up.
Yeah.
She got to decorate it, and
She's a fan of Ruby.
And she's a fan of Ruby. I mean, you know, I haven't seen past season 1, but, you know, good for you.
It was good until they cucked Vic Mignogna, but, you know.
Well, that, we're not going to get into that. Because
Listen,
you know what's going to happen with the Vic Mignogna thing? It's going to be like the
Max Landis
the Max Landis thing where, like, listen, based on all the evidence right now, there's no way. And then, like, by the time someone listens to it, it'll be like, no, he's actually guilty of everything. And we're like, well, we didn't know, so.
Yeah, that's a can of worms. I almost started saying stuff.
Yeah. To caution you, because I felt bad going back to some of our conversations where we talk about Max Landis. Like, no, listen, there's not enough evidence. So I'm like, oh, well,
hey, there wasn't.
I know.
There wasn't,
I know.
and there isn't for this, and that's all I gotta say about that issue. But anyway.
Listen, fuck Max Landis. Now that we have evidence, fuck him.
Yeah.
All right, that's all we'll say about this matter in this podcast.
So
you can cut that if you want, if you don't want to have that in the episode.
I could cut that if I want, if I don't want it in the episode.
There was another thing rights-wise where, so in the book, when she traps Rosie, when Rosie comes to see her memories or location, basically scan her files, in the book, the same thing happens, but then Abra metamorphosizes into a Daenerys Targaryen on a horse with a lance, and like just attacks
Wait,
her.
like actual Daenerys Targaryen?
Well, they don't say her name at first. It's like this fantasy female figure in armor with long silver golden hair, and it's like, oh, okay. And then I think later on they mention something about her reading or wanting to be like Daenerys or something.
Yeah.
And so like I thought for a second like this is Warner Brothers, maybe.
I think that's fine with me because Steven and George have been friends for like, I mean, countless decades.
It's a cute thing in the book. But.
Sure.
They've written books together. It's fine.
But in the book, they made it like creepier because she has no face and is just slowly walking towards her.
I was gonna say, so I think one of the things that makes this movie so interesting, you have like 3 different levels as to how it approaches the source material.
Yes.
Where there are portions where it's like, okay, I have to change some of this so it's more consistent with the Kubrick version.
Right.
There's other scenes where it's like fucking line for line, exactly like the fucking book. And then there's like the final bit that just tosses it all out the window and is basically the Shining book, but not even then as direct.
We're gonna talk about it. Okay.
But yeah, so it's interesting to see it go back and forth as someone who has read the books and go, I know that scene. That's really good.
Because there's also a bit where they adapt a scene from the Shining book, but it's in the Dr. Sleep story, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But it's again, like, this is a very bizarre film because Mike Flanagan's like, no, I must make peace between the Kubrick fans and the King fans. This can unite them and make them appreciate both the book and the movie of The Shining. And it's like, that you're taking on a lot of hatred. Yeah. Naruto, you're taking on a lot of hatred.
Do we want to get to...
Can I no. Before we do that.
We were following the plot at some point.
We were.
We've pretty much...
We've kind of done it.
Okay, to circle back, we have the bit of Abra going, I need the glove to better track down the True Knot. You know, you guys got to get it, and so...
Well, I wanted to compliment all the mine scenes that take place in the mine, but the bit where Rosie is floating through the fucking sky is one of the best scenes I have ever seen.
That's fucking amazing.
Like, it was... That's where I was totally like, this is a Kubrick moment right here.
Yeah.
Like, this is like something
No, that was fucking incredible. In fact, that it really, like, indulges in how fucking awesome it is just great.
Well, it's just like so quiet. Like, the music isn't like... It's just like really eerie. It's really... It reminded me... It just gave me such chills, and I was.
It did. No, it was haunting. Because that's the kind of horror.
See, that's the kind of shit I picture with Randall Flagg.
Yeah.
Like when his eye is gazing across, it's like him like psychically, like astrally projecting himself.
Yeah, no, this is like why I'm so glad they picked Mike Flanagan and not like fucking whoever else they could have picked.
Because nobody would have done this.
Because it's really interesting. Because in the book, whenever they leap into each other's mind or anything, they say something like they turned the wheel, they turned the world, and I'm like, I don't really know what that would look like visually. And then just watching this movie, you have like the scene where Abra like grabs her window and then goes.
That was another thing too. That fucking like sends shivers. I was like, oh shit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like that's that's the horror I like to see. That's
it was good. It was good. It was surreal.
And like, are we gonna talk about this whole scene where Rosie goes to try to do some snooping around Nabra's head?
Well, she gets like fucking caught like a rat in a trap, and then the alarm bells go off.
Yeah, the astral projection's great, and her like slowly getting further and further down.
It was good
as the heartbeats are getting faster.
Oh, it was the heartbeats. Yeah. It was entrancing.
It was it was so fucking good. Jesus,
I totally wanted to put the. Womp, 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 womp.
Yeah, dude, it was just man. Fucking great.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I was watching it, I'm like, this film's just pure art.
Well,
it's so amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, give Mike Flanagan money to do things.
Yeah.
Please.
He's good enough where the kind of sequel bait they put in this movie made me go, I'd kind of be fine with that. Which we'll basically, there's this bit where they're like, well, the True Knot, there could be worse out there. And it's like, I understand that Randall Flagg exists, thank you.
Yeah, is the True Knot kind of like the evil faction of The Stand?
No and yes. Like, I feel like it is kind of that element of The Stand, of the group of people becoming a family at the cost of anybody else. Like, because there's those bits in Boulder where they're like, yeah, like, I mean, they're the opposing side, so we gotta just blow them up. And it's like, oh, what?
Yeah.
I mean, they're people, but it's like, yeah, but they, so it is a little bit of that, but yeah.
They don't eat the shine.
Well, no. Yeah.
I could see Randall Flagg doing that.
Oh, I can too. But yeah, about this awesome thing where she goes into her mind and like sees her like drawers. Which at first, like, I love how like Rosie gets there and like it's just kind of in the background. You're like, wait, why is there like an office behind her?
Yeah.
And then she looks and goes, it's the mind. And I'm like, oh fucking shit, what? Mm-hmm. And then whenever she gets
Mine's
caught,
a cathedral.
I always thought it felt for Persona 5 when you get caught by whenever you're sneaking around the mind palaces in Persona.
It did remind me of that.
Yeah.
But there was also something else it reminded me of, because when Rosie pulls her hand out and you start to see her veins underneath, I'm like, what the fuck is with Mike Flanagan and like removing skin from hands? Because Gerald's Game, I literally had to get up and like turn away. Like,
that film, dude.
That's not okay. Well, yeah.
Fucking Gerald's Game, dude. I forgot to mention in more of our BuzzFeed shit. Bruce Greenwood's in Gerald's Game. Yes. He shows up here for a little bit.
Yes.
And then goes away, and I'm like, it's sad, but...
Well, because in the book, there's 3 characters that they all combine into Billy, basically.
Yeah.
Kind of.
That you know what, but to clean it up, it's fine.
No, it's true, but Bruce Greenwood was, like, one of those characters.
Okay.
Where his character was kind of combined, and then...
Yeah, because in the book, he isn't the head of Dan's hospital. He is the head of his AA group. But his role as a doctor is he's Abra's pediatrician.
Yeah.
So he's been given, like, clinical viewings of her shit. Her parents invite him over to her birthday where she hangs up all the spoons, and he's like, yeah, I know a guy who might, know something about this.
Oh, so it's more connected.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
interesting.
It's a bit more connected.
I don't know how I like that, but it's interesting.
Those subplots
That's not as egregious as, they all got the measles and died.
And they're related. And 9/11.
And cancer. No, but to touch on that for a moment, I like how the fact that there's only 9 of the True Knot makes their desperate search feel more realistic.
Absolutely.
Because the movie, like we said, Grandpa, I think, did he die of old age in the book, or was it the measles?
It was the measles, but it was like the first case of them, so they thought it was just...
They thought it was just him, but they do a good thing in this movie where they're like, no, we're finally, we all die eventually, so it's more of like we've lost one person, and now we gotta...
It was great because it set up the turning, or the cycling, or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it kind of also, Andy isn't a big character.
Yeah. There was that bit of conflict where she's like, what the fuck? And she's like, well, you'll live long. Doesn't mean you'll live forever.
It also shows how desperate they are by the fact that Gramps died. He releases steam, and they're also ravenous for that they go... And it accomplishes a lot.
Yeah.
In, one scene, you're like, you get his whole character's backstory... You're sad that he dies. You learn that True Knot can die. They don't live forever. Andy has conflict with the rest of them.
It's a very efficient scene.
It's so fucking efficient.
Yeah,
Thank you. That's the words.
Like, again, when Nathan and I were watching, I turned to him and went like, oh, fuck, we're already, at the ambush with the True Knot. And I know it's a movie, so it's obviously faster than reading the book. But, when you look at, pacing in the book in comparison, I was like, what's a fuck? But I guess they cut the measles, so it makes sense.
Yeah,
it's so interesting because in the book they do reference how.
Sorry, I'm just trying to fuck with you.
They do have that conversation in the movie with Crow Daddy and Rosie the Hat, where they're like, oh, there's less steam in the world. That conversation's in the book. They do mention that, eventually they're going to run out of food, but the main thread is the measles. And it's like, well, what if it was just they're running out and they're going to starve? And it's like, thank you.
And them only having 9 members leads more credence to the fact that we're a ragtag group of people that are desperate for and hungry. It felt kind of like they were a group of vampires,
Yeah. Well, and the thing is that the movie did a good job of this. There's more of this in the book, but the way in the opening, the True Knot are just among the other families camping out, because the book makes a huge point of they've been moving through our highways and freeways for hundreds of years, before there was highways, but they're basically saying the modern America of where we have all this interstate. Yeah, the True Knot's just been going around blending in with everybody else. They're just a part of those old folks. And then the movie, they do a bit of that in the opening, but there's a lot more of them running out, but also it's kind of more what you were saying, Nathan, where it's in this movie, and then what you were saying, Sal, in this movie with the 9, it's there's only a few of them left, really.
The fact that you cut out most of the members and cut out the measles plot, it lends more credence to the fact that, oh yes, we're desperate for food. Mm-hmm. And then you see how many canisters they have, and it's oh Jesus.
Yeah.
And also I love that they turn Andy in 2011. Violet gets killed in 1980. and the fact that they're still like trying to like ration out her steam from like 30 years ago. It's like, fuck.
Because I don't know if they specify in the movie. In the books, they say they have 3 canisters left.
In the movie, you see 3.
There's 3, yeah.
I think twice you see 3 because she takes because when she takes her canister, there's 1 left, right? Because they finish up 1, she takes all of another, so there was 1 left.
I think Violet's 1 canister, and then there's 3 after that. Because,
okay, so I think
whenever like they're like, hey, listen, you have to open up the canisters. We need some more food.
So I think there was 2 left.
They show there's 3.
Because in the book, it's this whole thing of, oh, I have 40 canisters here, but most of them are empty.
Yeah.
And like I think she's talking to it's either Crow Daddy or Barry, but she like asked them, how many do you think we have? And he's like, oh, I probably have like 12 or something. And she's like, no, he probably thinks he's lowballing, but we actually only have 3. And it's like, oh fuck. Also, so Barry the Chunk.
I was wondering when you were gonna get.
Proceed.
I just want to mention.
Yeah.
So Barry the Chunk.
We don't have to do this.
The reason
she calls him.
He's called Barry the Chunk is because it's
He's
Abra only like glimpsing through like a vision, only getting a bit, so she doesn't hear it right. His actual name. This is. I'm
okay. Do you want to do this?
No, it's in the book. He is protected.
In the interest, I can cut this if I think this will get us dropped. But his real nickname is Barry the Chink, and his nickname is that. But he is so Barry the Chink is
stop it.
He's
Shut
white.
the fuck up.
Is not Asian. He's called Barry the Chink because his eyes have this weird thing where they're kind of
slanted upward
a little bit.
So she hears it as Barry the Chunk, and they never find out his real name, like the heroes.
No, she does when she puts on the glove.
Oh, okay.
But we just don't have that moment, and I think
she just calls him Barry the Chunk, and they're like, if we cast a fat guy,
and he's credited as Barry the Chunk. So
they just they retconned. I'm like, thank God.
And I want to say something. I need to say something.
Go ahead.
I might repeat it in our The Stand series.
Yes.
But there's a character who is Chinese, and Stephen King makes a fucking point to constantly remind us of his Chinese eyes. And I was a Chinese little kid, and I'm like, I'm reading the book, I get it. You might, like, are you gonna remind me that Larry's white the whole time? Oh wait, I guess we can't anymore. But it's
now they'll remind you.
It's like am I reminded that Fran's a redhead every fucking 10 seconds? No,
but you are reminded that she giggles,
and that's equally annoying.
I tried to get around it, didn't work.
No.
Devil's advocate failed again.
No, fuck you, the devil, Al Pacino, get out of here. But it's and I've read much Stephen King, but
you'll get there.
But I'll get there. But what's up with his like? Does he forget? Does he have to like remember for himself?
See, here's the thing: is I don't think he means anything by it. I think honestly he makes these characters and then he makes them like either sympathetic or understandable, and it's like, well, see, I'm not racist because they're actually good people. Even though I remind you that like people remind them that they're this race or racist to them, it's not that Stephen King feels that way.
Or is their race their defining character trait?
Well, yeah, but that's a prose issue. That's not a.
That's one of the things. As someone who has now read 2 2/3 of Stephen King's books, it's bizarre to me that one of the authors that so many people are like, oh, he's one of the best authors of the 20th, 21st century and all that, makes so many just like basic sloppy writing decisions. It's so bizarre.
I mean, his endings.
Well, people bring up his endings, but there's so many times where he's just arbitrarily repetitive. And sometimes it works. I would argue a lot of the times it doesn't.
Are you talking about
in The Shining specifically, I think is what Nathan is talking about.
I feel like he's talking about specifically in the opening of The Stand versus Helter Skelter twice.
Well, that's what The Shining is, but more.
Oh, Jesus. Fucking kill me.
But a lot, so I disagree with Nathan a little bit. Like, there's a lot of parts in The Shining where the repetition is very clearly for a certain purpose to show out Jack's alcoholism.
Oh, absolutely.
But there's other times where it's not, and it's not good.
I feel my soul slipping.
You just gotta rewatch this movie.
Yeah, I do.
And forget the books.
Yeah.
So we'll talk
I like how this has turned into let's fucking crush Sal's spirit. He's so happy about this movie. Let's fucking...
No, the opposite. We're trying to encourage your love of this movie because we were watching and like, wow, this is much improved.
Yeah, we're going. You're going like, oh, this is such a smooth ride, and we're going like, yeah, look at this shitty pothole that we didn't fall into.
Like I'm driving the car.
No, Nathan.
And I'm like, this road's great, and you're like, you're missing every single ditch.
Nathan says that leaning over to you as you're in your car, and then we're driving cars with like only 2 tires, and we're just like. We're just looking over like, yeah, well, we're in the potholes. How do you feel?
Yeah. That sounds awful.
It's pretty bad.
God, I wish that weren't me.
Yeah. Okay, so plot-wise, I think...
Where are we at?
I think,
What are we doing? Oh, we're still... Oh, that's right. Abra's, her dream trap.
I think we were past that.
No, no, we're not.
You see how I tried to move?
That's what I told you. Okay. 20 minutes.
All right. All right.
Foreshadow. No, her like Abra was creepy in this scene.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, now that we're in dream mode, we can just go fucking bug nuts. And her like, and she kind of has like the same hairstyle and color as the Ruby character. She has a little figure of.
That's a complete reference.
Yeah. Also, I think the Ruby character has a thing where she can like affect people's minds and stuff.
Cute.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the figurine was, but I think you're. Oh wait, was it the green haired?
Yeah.
No.
Black chick.
It was. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Then yes.
So she has her hairstyle and color, but she has no eyes.
Yeah.
Like someone else we know.
Randall Flagg. I
was hoping to say Slender Man. I was so waiting for it.
I cucked you. Well, I mean, they're the same character.
But yes, Randall Flagg. Yeah,
Randall Flagg.
That's what I was going. That's going to.
In The Stand, Stephen King literally says Randall Flagg is Nylar Lothethep. So
does he say that?
Do you want to try that one more time?
Nylar Lothethep.
Do you want to do it one more time?
Nylar Lothethep.
Do a couple at a time.
Are you doing the Richard Jewell?
Yes!
I just need to say it again so we know his name. Okay. Perfect. There's a bomb in Central Park. You have 30 minutes. Best proxy video of all time.
That was great. I'm so glad To The Arc uploaded finally.
Yes.
So many years.
But
this is all getting cut.
No, I'm editing this. I changed my mind.
No.
You can go cock yourself.
You've got too much on the docket.
Nah, I'm transferring stuff over. It's fine. You can
I reject the transfer.
You can do the
We have an editing board now, so this is what this argument's about.
So there was a bit I forgot. I just remembered because I'm high. So no. Listen, in the opening when the True Knot are in the trees, when Violet gets taken, one of them is dressed in the same outfit as Wendy from the first movie, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Really?
She has like the red and the blue overalls.
That's fucked up.
And I'm like, what the fuck is? I mean, it's not like I thought it was Wendy or anything like that, but I was like,
are you now getting a brownie?
What are you talking about?
That's a big piece. Are you sure you want that?
He doesn't work tomorrow.
I don't know.
He doesn't work tomorrow. All right.
Okay. Also, I would never have something like this because if my employers ever found a video like this, I'd be in trouble. So I'm
it's getting cut out.
Drinking.
Well, it's been a long day.
That's a nice drink.
That's a
nice watch.
Is it a chocolate drink?
No.
Brownie flavor?
No, it's. I'm having a rum and coke.
But I love how in this movie Dick Halloran being the mentor and then Dan being the mentor to Abra.
No, that was
such a good arc.
Like knowing that in the book that Dick doesn't die in The Shining.
Yeah, he has that. Yeah, he has the one scene and then he dies later.
But I like how Dick's like, well, like someone told me that I'm telling you one day you'll tell somebody.
Yeah.
And like him being the ghost mentor to Danny foreshadows him being the ghost mentor to Abra later.
At the end.
And I'm like, when I saw that, I was like, fuck yeah, it's good.
It's like poetry, right?
It's like you set that up and you paid it off. It's like you actually did more than one draft of a script.
Yes.
Before you shot it.
This very clearly had many drafts.
Right, unlike some movies that came out.
That's like so there's a
Can you guess? I'll give you 3 chances.
No, it's okay.
Is it Knives Out?
I haven't seen it,
Is it Looper?
So there's a really good line of dialogue that is repeated, and they do it in the inverse as what they do it from the book. But in the movie, so we have this scene after Snakebite Andy first gets turned into the True Knot, and she's like, "Am I still human?" And Rosie
that was
goes,
great.
do you care? Or does that matter?
Yeah.
And then
That was really good.
I think it's... Is it still Dick and Danny?
It's still Dick and Danny. What they did was they moved it to the hospice scene instead of in the opening scene.
Yeah. So later on, Danny asks Dick, all those ghosts that I locked away, all these things I have locked away in my mind, are they dead in there? And Dick goes, does that matter? Do you care? And it's like, I love that just little tiny parallel.
That was really good. I noticed that when I was watching it too. I was like,
because again, he asked that at the beginning of the book.
Yeah.
So when they said the line with the True Note, I was like,
oh, that's a nice reincorporation, but that's weird that you know.
Yeah.
But then they brought it back.
That's very good.
So little details. Like, again, really, really interesting to see how Mike Flanagan balances all of those spinning plates of appealing to Kubrick fans, to Stephen King fans,
and he doesn't really drop any. They wobble.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll say they wobble. None of them fall.
None of them fall, but there's a little bit of
the Kubrick one for me wobbles.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the one he has with his foot. He's like, oh shit. Oh god, another one.
That's his one. Yeah, that's his foot. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think we should just get to.
Well, because to be fair, that's the one he's wobbling with his foot, and you have like Stephen King in the corner like blowing on it, going fucking fall.
So I'm going to speculate because there's so many things they cut from the book that is clearly Mike Flanagan going, listen, Stephen King, I love your book, but for a film you need to make choices, and I just happen to choose all the bad scenes to cut out.
And Stephen King, by the way, loves this movie.
Of course he does.
Yeah.
I know why.
Why? Tell me why.
Well,
what you want.
Did you have something to say, Nathan?
He's busy drinking.
I'm drinking.
Okay, sorry.
You say with
I'm drinking.
That was through the bottle. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's ironic. He could save others from alcoholism, but not himself. But so.
God, I only drank a little, compared to him.
Well, it's fine. But
it's fine. I'm gonna hate myself in like an hour.
You are when I put on the Shining miniseries.
Yeah, you're right. Where were we? We were talking about the
I've been drinking.
No, I know, but
I've been drinking, bitch.
I've been drinking, bitch.
The Kubrick plate is wobbling for you.
It's wobbling.
And Stephen King's blowing in the corner.
What's he blowing? No one knows. We'll get to it, but my only real fucking issue with this movie is the last quote unquote scare leading into the resolution. Like, it makes sense.
What's that scare?
So we'll circle back around. We should just get to it in order because we've been jumping around. So starting from when they get to the Overlook, I fucking love everything. So they did reuse it. They did reuse the shots.
Yeah, they just made a day for night and then.
But that's the best day for night I've ever seen.
Oh, that's.
Mm-hmm. Oh, because I thought they just CGI'd it, but it turns out no, we just recolored the original image.
And also the theme is now like.
It's so much like louder because it's like in the first movie, like let's say you're watching The Shining with no context, you're like, oh, this is kind of creepy. It's building a bit of a foreboding atmosphere, but I don't really know what's going to happen up at the hotel. And this movie's like, you know what the hotel is, like it's pure evil, like this is the darkest thing that you've ever encountered, and it's just like, so we're going to let you know that. So like the score was so like this whole score was amazing.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. It's Dave Porter. He does like most of Mike Flanagan's stuff.
That's not Dave Porter.
Not Dave Porter? That's right.
It's the Newton brothers. Dave Porter did.
Sorry, yes, because I was listening to that this morning.
Oh, okay.
That's why I thought about it.
I think it's the new, but it's. I swear to God, if you mix this and The Shining music together, you probably couldn't.
On my playlist of music to listen to or read in the stand, I have all of the Breaking Bad / Better Call Saul music.
That's a good idea.
So that's why I thought of Dave Porter and not the Newton brothers. You're right. Brothers. I apologize. Edit that out.
I'm on it.
But
probably. I might forget.
I hate you. Fuck off.
I'm gonna cut that out because that hurt my feelings. So you never said that. You love me.
But the Overlook, they get there, and I love how Dan is basically like, I'm gonna go wake it up, because it's. I mean, again, for the most part, Dr. Sleep doesn't really over-explain things from the Kubrick movie that I didn't want to know. Like, I'm glad that I don't know what the entity that is the hotel or possesses the hotel or dwells in the hotel. I don't know what it is. Whereas in the book, you kind of know a bit more, but it's still like...
This film made me like really understand The Shining more. Which is what's good about a sequel is that you kind of can like... It's kind of like Happy Death Day 2U. We're like the first film, it's a lot of fun. It's interesting. It's cool. Our second one, you're like, oh, this recontextualizes like a lot of the first movie, and I get more about like the world now and like how the science works. And again, if you haven't seen Happy Death Day films, they're actually fucking great.
I've seen the first one and I love it. It's near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, 2U is just as good. It's great.
And then like what you mentioned earlier, Nathan, 2010, how that movie's like, well, we're gonna answer what happened to Hal. That's literally 1 out of 100 questions. Yeah, we won't answer like 98 others, but
yeah.
I mean, the monoliths do shit again, and it's like, but what are they? Well, they're probably like an advanced thing from some aliens, I guess.
Yeah, and so it's really cool. And that's when they were like, yeah, so the reason why like the hotel was so driven towards Danny was because he was so like the true knot feed off the shine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Dick mentions that he battery powered it up because he was so strong.
And I'm like, that because not reading the books.
Well, because again, so this is where it's like blowing my mind, but it really shouldn't. Because from my point of view, knowing like before I even read the book, I knew like most of the differences or things cut. So for me, like I always had the context of like knowing the reasons King gave, and then having my own kind of spin on that in the Kubrick film. But for you, just having the Kubrick film, that must have made you go like, oh shit, like I like
no,
that.
Yeah,
just,
it was like a come to Jesus moment. I was like, oh wow, I can rewatch The Shining and kind of be like, I get what's happening, like fully, because like I always like enjoyed The Shining, but I was kind of like, why though?
Yeah,
like,
well, I mean,
in the back of my head, I was kind of like, huh.
I like that it's more ambiguous. But if you have to have a sequel, they probably gave the most limited explanation.
It was enough. It's like I didn't need to know that I didn't need Tony being Danny in the future, past, whatever.
Yes.
Like, no, he's just what he called the Shine because he was a kid.
And the Shine is mysterious, and who knows.
Yeah. Yep. And so, like, them being like, hey, we set up that the bad of this movie, of this film, are people who feed on the Shine.
Yeah.
This is a sequel to The Shining. So if we recontextualize that as it being like them, but as a place, it's like, oh... Well, then now, like, the through line of the films is that they want to feed on the Shine, which is why it's so important. And then it's like, oh, okay, the puzzle has come together.
Yeah.
Everything fits.
That's so fascinating and unique. I love that you didn't have that context, because that really, like... It's a completely different pack to you. That's really cool.
Just, like, everything felt like it made more sense to me. Just, like, and I'm like, oh, and so whenever Danny walks into the house and it starts lighting up, it's like, because it's hungry. And then when Abra
he's charging it up.
Yeah, and then when Abra walks in the house, is like, did you just put a fucking steak in front of me?
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, because in the Shining book, it also mentions that the hotel entity, whatever it is, wants to kill Danny because then it will possess his shine, and it can broadcast itself way farther than the hotel.
Oh.
So it's even more like higher stakes, and so if they got both him and Abra, they'd be unstoppable.
Yeah, and that's why it's like really cool that like that whole segment, I was like, oh, fuck yes.
Like, yeah, it was fan service, and as a fan, I was serviced. But it was also very creepy, like him going to, like...
No, but to touch on what you just said about fan service...
Yeah.
This is actual fan service. That works.
There's bits later that I'm going to talk about where you could debate it, but on the whole, this is not The Force Awakens. Again,
fuck.
It's not like... It's the Death Star, but it's 10 times bigger. It's not like that.
That's a fan disservice.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, again, I mean, the fact that Mike Flanagan was like, I have the blueprints for the set they used for The Shining. I am going to painstakingly remake it. Like, when they're walking through the halls, I'm like, yeah, this is the Overlook.
I was like, no, there's so many bits where I was like, there's an Overlook. It's just, this is the same movie.
I will say they cheat for a visual.
They do cheat for a visual.
Where when he's looking through the door, it's like, but in The Shining, he knocked out both of the panels. And only one of them is broken.
Yeah, that's right. I know. I was paying attention because when he went through the first door and there was the break, I was like, no, but I remembered in the first movie, it's only the first door with one panel. The second one is both. And then he gets there and it's the one. And I had a moment of going, oh yeah. And I'm like, no, I understand. That's okay.
Because I thought the trailer tricked me. And I thought when he was going into the room, that was going to be the one panel he looked through. And then he looks and sees that the red rum door has both broken. But no.
No,
that's also lends more credence to me kind of thinking that some version of the Kubrick film happened.
Listen, you are completely correct. That is the.
But you hate it.
No, it's not that. It's okay. It's complicated because I like this movie a lot, and you are correct that yes, I'm sure the way Mike Flanagan in his Haas would explain it is, listen, like I'm paying I'm basically putting in the same. The way he put it is, it's in the same cinematic universe as The Shining, which means it exists in that same cinematic style and like universe, not its fictional universe, but like it's, And so and when he said that, I was like, okay, so there's gonna be like bits that are like very similar but not the same.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which I get it, but
and yes, it is I'll say mistake, because it's not the same way the door is. And it is there just for a reference. Because they even go through the effort of recreating the shot of Wendy in the bathroom.
No, Nathan knows. I was sitting there. It was so good because it's only like a second long, and the first half second I thought it was a reused shot.
Yeah,
and
same.
I was like,
me
then it was like, oh no, it's the new Wendy. Oh shit,
me
okay,
too.
I know reality.
Yeah.
But that was the second jump scare. They happened very close together. He does the lights coming on, the hard lights, and then the inner cut of the axe going through is like extremely loud. And I was like, oh boy, yeah.
Which is great because it's unlike It Chapter 2. The Shining sequel has more reservations and is able to control itself better.
I will say, like, the bit where Rosie comes in and she turns and sees the blood flow and she kind of just smiles at it. I will say that's kind of like, okay,
that's a little dumb.
Like it was a little dumb, but not in like a, oh, this is breaking the movie, but it just kind of made me like she smiles at it, which is in character. Like I feel like she wouldn't freak out.
Yeah, I think what it is that she's sort of like, she's in this new place. This creature, I know she's not human anymore. She's like this thing that's been around for like, she's like what, in her like her 40s. So let's say she got turned in like her 20s.
Well, they say like 1 year is 50.
So she's been around for a while.
Yeah.
So like for her to be in like basically like an actual haunted house that like wants to eat her.
Yeah.
And it's because the reason why it's this movie being contextualized The Shining for me, that you see the True Knot torturing people to get more juice out of them.
So The Shining is now the hotel driving them insane to get more suffering.
Yes. Yeah. So she sees that as kind of like, I do the same thing. That's cute. That's how, whenever I saw that, I was like, she's like half appreciating, half like kind of like, oh, you're trying to.
I'm someone who knows all about the shine and torturous things, so I see this, but I know it's just an illusion trying to freak me out. So
Oh no, yeah, it's more that paired with like.
It's like when you play a game and there's jump scare and you're like, all right.
Oh no, that's how it came across. It was like it made sense and it was in character.
I also could see the studio being like, you have to do the bloody hallway scene. Yes. And Mike's like,
there's also
I'll do it on my terms.
Yeah. There's also the bit where I think it's somebody turns and then Delbert Grady is like holding his lapels at the end of the hallway, and I'm like, that's a little silly, but okay.
That's after they all get bust out, right?
That's when they all break out and they're going like madcap.
Yeah, that's good.
So this is what's so funny because it's like adapting the book, but it's a sequel to the Kubrick movie. So in the Kubrick movie, there's the guy who says, "Great party, isn't it?" And he's back in this movie. Yeah. And they identify him as Horace Derwent, who was the guy who like was owned the hotel at one point. So they're like, "Oh, it's Horace Derwent." But in the Kubrick film, he has that guy, which is Horace Derwent in the book, but then he also has Horace Derwent being the guy getting his dick sucked by the bear. So he's technically Horace Derwent in the first movie credited, but in this movie they're like, "No, he's the guy who said great party, isn't it?" And it's like, I accept this.
I also like whenever Danny says he catches all the ghosts in the interim, but only mentions the bloated lady and Horace, which I think is, now that I know that those are the two,
yes,
I think that's great.
Yes.
Because it's like, oh, all right, cool. At the cheeky little, like...
Yeah, absolutely.
And just Ewan's acting in the scene where he's like, he had this shitting around his face. I was like, wow. That was funny as fuck. I really enjoy the whole Overlook section because, like, I mean, it looks just like how it did.
There was the scene that tripped me out the most was when Rosie is coming up, but the axe instead of the bat is him swinging at her, and I'm like, no, this is framed exactly the same. Shut the fuck up.
Also, a really clever thing that most directors wouldn't have done is they have the bit where, like, Danny sees the axe in the wall close on the thing. I mean, we all know he's gonna grab the axe, right? But they don't show him doing it. Then cuts the Rosie walking through the halls, and then like in a shot where she's walking down the same hallway with the axe, she never like looks inside to see that the axe is gone. There's never a shot where we pan with her and then we see the axe thing missing. She's just there, and on the far right of the shot, the door is now open. It was like half the door open. So if we're paying attention, we can kind of go, oh, they took the axe. Mm-hmm. But we never have to like draw super close attention to it. I remember, like, I think it was like years ago. I was talking to you about this, where I was watching
Sure.
an episode of Agents of fucking S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And I was bitching about how, and there was a scene where, like, they come in to go see Agent Coulson. He's doing a thing to the table, and it's all in wide shot. And I remember messaging you, and I was watching it going, wow, they're being subtle right now. And then immediately they would do a close-up cut, like, what are you doing? And he's like, nothing. And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, have some tact and subtlety, you fucking hack frauds. And then in this movie, they actually have subtlety and tact. We all know he's gonna get the axe. But, like,
Well, I don't know.
we don't have to draw so...
I didn't know because I still had my imaginary version where Jack Torrance comes out with the axe and attacks Rosie.
Yeah. They don't have to, like, super show you, like, wow, look, the axe. It's like, no, we get it.
We need to talk about the Jack Torrance bar scene though.
Okay, we can finally talk about this?
Yeah.
let's
Because we jumped over it and it was like, no, we can't
before we
hide.
talk about this,
Yes.
let's talk about the casting of Wendy. Because we didn't super touch on it.
Oh, she was good. Okay.
There we go.
There was bits where, like, how do I explain it? There was bits where it was like her own kind of take on Shelley Duvall's take.
Yes.
And then there's other lines where it was like she was clearly like in between, and so she sounded a bit weird.
Mm-hmm.
So half the time she was amazing, and the other half it was weird.
I think there was one... So there's one bit where, like, when Danny's talking to Dick, and after he's done, we hear her running towards him screaming. Sounded just like Shelley Duvall.
Yes.
Daddy! Oh, Dad! Oh, Daddy!
And she does a little bit of the arm flail.
Yeah, she does a little arm
great.
flail, and I'm like, that was like one of the moments where that and her jump scare at the end, where I was like, oh, it's Shelley Duvall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think that Dick and then the kid who played Danny were really fucking good.
Yeah.
Both of them were like, I totally could believe that it was the same characters.
Yeah.
Very
It
easily.
feels great.
Yeah.
But
But the Jack
I
Torrance
feel like Wendy wasn't like,
go ahead.
you know, to match Shelley Duvall wasn't like thin and like tree-like enough.
Well, she's stronger now.
Yeah.
Because she survived the Overlook.
Yes.
So it's the technically the arc from...
You're right. She beefed up a little bit in the interim in Florida. She went to one of those gyms.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the book, I know it's been a while.
Listen.
In the book, since Wendy got attacked with a roque mallet and not an axe, she got hit in the back and other places, and so her back is hurt. So a lot of the opening of Doctor Sleep, she's kind of in physical recovery. So she's like she's like strong, like a bit tougher, stronger now. But she's like,
Do you want to explain the roque mallet for those who are not
initiated? Yeah. So Stephen King was like, you know, there's a whole roque mallet, and I'm trying to do this whole like class divide commentary on the rich, you know, thing. So of course, a roque mallet, the symbol of like ultimate wealth and influence, that's this giant roque court. And that's from British because croquet is a bastardization of the true British way of doing things. So Stephen King's trying to do this commentary, and it's like, but you still have Grady kill his family with an axe. Why is Jack using a roque mallet?
What is roque even? Is it just croquet?
You know croquet?
Yeah.
Roque just has one side that's like harder steel. I don't know. That's it.
Also, so and for those of you,
and then it's like in the movie, Kubrick was like, well, Grady killed his family with an axe, so Chekhov's gun, of course Jack attacks his family with an axe, and then King was like, no.
Yeah, and so the thing that fucking pissed me the fuck off in The Shining book, because I had seen the Kubrick film, is the fact that Jack like hits people really hard multiple times with the roque mallet.
If it had been an axe,
and as someone,
he'd be dead.
And as someone who has like played a little bit of croquet, knowing it's the same thing, if you like look at a croquet mallet hard, it's gonna fucking break. If you hit someone with that shit as hard as you can, you will at the very least snap the head off.
Oh,
that's not a murder weapon.
Yeah, I don't care if like in Rogue, it's like got a bit of a steel side to it. The rest is wood; it will shatter.
It's why no one murders people with roque mallets.
I bet if you looked at the, it's hard to believe, but I bet if you looked at the figures for murders by roque mallets and murders by axes, I think axes might be a little bit more. Just saying.
I'm just gonna throw this out here: the handle for a roque mallet technically falls under the rule of thumb. So back in the day, you could probably
hit your wife with it.
Yeah, and it's fine because it's a teeny tiny fucking worthless piece of shit. The roque mallet, not the wife.
Yeah.
But
so the whole roque mallet.
But so Danny Jack drinking scene. What's the feel of the room? What's the discussion? What's happening there?
I liked what it was trying to do.
I look at Murder by Rookmount, all I get is just the Shining book.
That's the one documented case in history.
It's almost like if I did Axe, I wouldn't get the Shining.
Yes.
I would get actual murders because you would use an axe and not a rope mallet.
It's like, did you
fucking
watch...
Dingleberry?
I'll probably cut this, but Sal, you're watching through EFAP. Have you gotten to the part where they're dissecting Jay's response video to Mahler's video of Black Panther?
Yeah.
And why farming rhinos is
Rhino
dumb?
milk, yeah.
Rhino milk? Yeah.
Rhino milk's the best.
That's basically like...
That's a good meme.
So...
Break it down for me. What's up?
So that... I'm trying to link my thought process here. Stephen King trying to come up with a murder weapon and going with a roque mallet is the equivalent of Jay going, why would someone farm rhinos? For their milk. And it's like, no.
Why would someone use a roque mallet? To play roque? No, to kill someone. No, of course.
Yeah.
You
have so many...
I mean, he did try to kill the main character with a wasp nest.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk anymore.
But anyway,
that's one of the ghosts of the Overlook is the wasp nest.
So since we're gonna keep fucking pussyfooting around this a little bit, let me get the ball rolling. I will say, I like how this was shot for a little bit. How you only see the profile of each character for the majority of the conversation. So that's
that was how you were starting the ball. Okay.
That's my little listen, because you and I have a similar opinion of it. I feel, but Sal's.
I like how it was shot.
Mm-hmm.
It was well acted. The scene looks
just like
it's great.
Again, it's so eerie. It looks just like the Overlook, and it looks like the Golden Room, and it looks like the exact. It just
the scene is for a good purpose. It's to show, well, Danny is better than his father because he won't take the drink that Lloyd offered to.
He won't drink a milkshake.
No, he
won't
won't
drink his medicine.
Yeah. So sorry, we have to stop. So thank you for reminding me.
You're welcome.
So who does he say? The guy in the bar. He beats him up and says, "By God, you'll take your medicine." That is a huge fucking thing in the Shining book.
Yes.
That is every time Danny has a vision of like some shadowy figure with a mallet hitting the walls, saying, "You little pup, by God, you'll take your medicine, you little bastard." That's like Jack. And so when Jack gets possessed in the book, he just fucking starts saying that. And then he's like, yeah, beating the shit out of my wife, you'll take your medicine, bitch. And so when he said it in the movie, I'm like, oh, are they going to bring that back when he does something to somebody? And it's like, no.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Again, that...
Oh, sorry, no, Jack says it at the bar is what I was trying to get at.
Yeah. And again, it's Mike Flanagan trying real hard. You know, like he's standing on a cardboard box that is sinking, and he's like, okay, if I evenly distribute, he's doing fucking everything to make sure this floats.
And he's juggling.
And he's spinning plates while Stephen King is trying to like rattle one off. And again, this should be a disaster. This absolutely should be a disaster.
This film should not be anyway good.
But he changes the context of this line by having Jack the bartender say, like, something along the lines of life is an illness or something like that.
Yeah.
This is the medicine.
This is the medicine.
I'm like, perfect. Way fucking better than what Stephen King had in mind for that line.
Yeah.
Because he was trying to basically, like, just seduce him to the dark side, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
To make him give in. Because I love it. I love when he gets there, because in The Shining, he's like, God, I give my soul for a drink. And then Lloyd shows up. Mm-hmm. And this is like, in every iteration of this Overlook story, this is always the pivotal moment where, like, they get to decide, will you take the drink and give your soul? Well, much like alcoholism. Or will you deny it? And because the Overlook is so desperate, because it's been, like, dead for 30 years.
Yeah, it's been
starving. Much like the Chernot. Good parallel.
Yeah, it's a good parallel.
It is, like, doing everything it can.
Yeah.
So I saw this scene as doing one of two things, if not both. What I saw was that's not Jack Torrance.
We'll see.
It's not Jack Torrance in any way, shape, or form. It has his persona. Mm-hmm. It looks like Jack Torrance, but it's not. He's Lloyd, and much like how.
So you were seeing this as the spirit Lloyd taking on the guise of his father.
Yes.
But approaching it in a different way, because in the Shining movie, he seduced him with different language, whereas here it's like, the only way I can do it is by being your father and, like, ordering you, seeing if that will work. Okay.
Yes. So that's how I saw it, which is why, like, so while the guy who played Jack wasn't, like, doing, I guess, much like when he was kind of trying to do Shelley Duvall, he wasn't trying to do Jack Nicholson. But he was basically just like, I'm going to wear the face of your father and tell you to try to anything I can to seduce you. First, I'm gonna be gentle and like, yes, you want a drink. Yeah. Here's a drink, sir. Yes, it's on the house. And then once he's like seeing that it's not working, he's like, I'm your father. Drink your medicine.
I could have gone. I would have accepted him going, well, you're not my father as well. But the fact that he does,
I think that the reason why Danny calls him his dad. It's not because it's actually his dad, because he's like, I finally have a face that I can get my aggressions out
But if we go with the end of the Kubrick film, the way I always interpreted it, well, there's the two ways to look at it. Either he was like a reincarnation, or he was like always a part of the Overlook, because once you're absorbed, time has no meaning.
Who?
Jack.
Okay.
Because that's why he's in the picture at the end. That's 1921.
I think that's like, how I saw that was like every time there's a new...
Yeah,
it was replaced.
Yeah, and I think
not that it was actually in that time, but that it's always like
because I think logically he should be the Grady part now.
Yeah,
but I get the whole like Mike Flanagan basically was like, well, it's a better story if it's the bar with alcohol.
Yeah,
like Grady, you could technically do that, but it makes more sense for it to be Lloyd and not the Grady role. So
yeah, but he still calls himself Lloyd because that's like the thing. Yeah, but it's like a different veneer, I guess. But like also, what's really cool is that I feel like, because not knowing the books or anything else, going off of the Kubrick film and now this, but I always felt like whenever I saw the end of the Kubrick movie and it shows Jack in the picture, what it's essentially saying to a degree is, at some point in time in the 1920s, probably. This happened in the Overlook.
Yeah.
This evil, despicable thing.
Something.
And then now, subsequently, this act is repeated.
Yes.
On like a loop. Mm-hmm. And so that every time it seduces and does the thing, the picture's like replaced, kind of like as if a...
It would have been awesome if it pans to the picture and Rosie's next to Jack Nicholson.
Yeah. But like that kind of stuff. So like, when it's kind of like how in Silent Hill, Pyramid Head and Valtiel are technically the same entity, but because when James goes to Silent Hill, it's Pyramid Head because of his personal frustrations. Yeah. And then when Heather goes to Silent Hill, it's Valtiel because of whatever she's dealing with personally. And then also in Downpour, it's the Boogeyman because of what I forget the character's name, sorry, but what he's dealing with personally. When I kind of saw that, I kind of saw it as like because you're Danny, this is what you're seeing.
Oh, yeah.
And / or we beat your father, so now we have him.
Yeah.
And we're using him now to get to you.
I guess when I look at it like that, I have less complaints, because honestly what it was I thought the movie, because there's that scene where they try to... Okay, so it's a criticism of the Kubrick film and Stephen King. I truly believe that the only reason Stephen King says anything bad about the Shining movie, and this is what I personally believe, because he always says, oh, it's not scary, but he never explains, and he's very, like... Stephen King, so I always interpret that as like a lame kind of like he's not truly answering. I think honestly it's the fact that the Kubrick film had Jack Torrance, aka Stephen King, the alcoholic, as having no redemption at the end. He just dies alone, having broken from his family, whereas in the original book Jack sacrifices himself to keep the boiler closed and it blows up. So like Stephen King is like, even though he went mad and gave into evil and gave his soul, he still redeemed himself to save his family. Whereas in the Kubrick film, it's like, no, like madness consumed him. Like there's nothing left. And so I was like, I really think that's the big reason he hates the Shining movie. I bet you if like there was like one or two more Jack being like more good father Jack, and then just the ending, he sacrificed himself, Kubrick, like King would go, this movie's actually pretty good. So...
Is that ever saying now finally he has the ending he always wanted?
That's what it is. And so
okay.
And this is all a through line from what you just said to this bit I'm gonna just mention now. He has this bit where he's at the AA meeting. He's like, no, listen, Jack Torrance also faced a terrible choice, and he couldn't do it, and so this is for me and Jack. Like I'm doing this for both of us. And I'm like, oh shit, they're gonna just like say off screen like he was like far more loving. It's just we only saw the battered parts, and then at the end it's like, Well, now that you say, well, he's more a part of the hotel, so it's maybe not even really him. So maybe he isn't just unrepentantly like, no, like, take the medicine, you know? Maybe he is more flawed, but yeah, what it is the ending, the reason it kind of bothers me is it's like, what if we just did the ending King always wanted, but now it's Dan Torrance?
But I think that's fine, though.
It's fine.
Because,
I mean, just...
I'll defend it starting from a spot where I don't know how the Doctor Sleep book ends, where I think it's great that, like, Danny his whole life wrestles with the Overlook.
Yeah.
With what happened there, happened to his father, how it affected his mother, how it affected him for the rest of his entire life. I feel like since he spent his whole life searching for a purpose, he kind of found it in being Dr. Sleep, because that's who it is. I'm glad I now know what that means. Remember whenever I heard the title was Dr. Sleep, I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
When I first heard about this way back in 2013, and I was very new to King, I immediately had to read the plot summary, and I'm like, why is it called that?
I spent years going, I don't know what that the fucking means. Because he kind of fulfills Dick Halloran's thing of, like, because if you think about it in terms of Kubrick shining to this, Dick kind of sacrifices himself trying to save Danny.
Oh, I get
and
that.
Now
That's
Danny
a good
now sacrifices himself saving Abra. And also, on top of that, he's doing what his father couldn't do, denying the alcohol, denying the possession, not killing the child that he loves.
But see, that's my problem with it, is that it's like, he rejects the alcohol. He is in no way his father. The Overlook can just possess him anyway. He doesn't have to give into it.
Yeah, but I also kind of feel like...
that's my biggest problem.
It's a similar thing of, like, how the Overlook tries to possess Danny with Jack. Now we have Danny being possessed because, you know, he's in pain. He's hurting. They just got all the power from Rosie. And Rosie, again, who we
I guess that's, I mean, power scaling wise, quote unquote, that's how I'm supposed to see it, is that,
Yes.
oh, well, they just took all that steam and she's been around consuming how much steam, so the Overlook's the most powerful it's ever been.
Yeah, and also if you think about the fact that, like, earlier in the movie, Andy is like, sleep, and Danny's like, and she's like, sleep. He's like, and she's like, sleep, and he's like, oh, fucking okay. Like he has a resistance to these things, but he eventually will get overtaken.
I think the way they could have done it. Now, I'm not saying that this is like a better ending, but to me this makes a little bit more sense, is like, so in the book, Dan has like actually a lot more dark moments than this movie. Even in this movie, he dies. He like tortures Snakebite Andy, like, to find out what, so in my mind, if he had like maybe taken the like, I know the whole point is the Overlook ghosts get Rose and that's great, but like if he had like given in and like he was angry because she was gonna hurt Abra and then he like hit her with the axe or like attacked her violently and then it's like, oh well, you gave in to your inner darkness, so like we can possess you now. It'd have been like, oh okay, but because for me, like, everything you're saying is like true, like it's paying off like parallels and all this stuff, but to me it was still kind of just like, and now we're doing the ending of The Shining, so he has to be possessed.
See, but like I didn't know that, I couldn't perceive it that way.
I know.
And so like, I mean, it did feel like in the moment I was like, oh, now he's possessed, so shit.
Yeah.
Why? And then, I mean, now that I thought about it more, I'm like, okay, I guess it can make sense. It could be clearer, though. It's sort of like the other issue I had where it's like, how do they know Rosie's all jacked up on steam?
Well, yeah. Because I think in the book, the way they explain that is, oh, I can feel her from so much farther now, or something like that. They try to like justify that.
And knowing Mike Flanagan, he probably shot more than what is shown.
Of course, yeah.
Because even my Haunting of Hill House set that I got has extended episodes, and I'm like, but it's Netflix. You can't just like have whatever.
He's like, whatever. I need to sell a DVD.
But so I can imagine there being like a scene maybe that's a bit more. I don't know if it's cut for time. It's already a 2.5 hour movie or something that's weird. I do agree with you. I feel like the possession, why he's possessed, can be because I am essentially writing the film for it now at this point.
Oh, I know.
Which is not good for me to do.
And I'm not I'm not implying that, oh, if your protagonist dies in an adaptation, he must be worse than his book counterpart. I'm not saying that. It's just that I'm not saying that. It's just that it felt a little like,
I get how you can.
Did Dan have to die? Because there's the main reason is. The whole thing I like about the Dr. Sleep ending is it does do the cyclical thing, but maybe the fact that Dick died in Shining is like the reason why it's like a different kind of payoff. Is because he has the same kind of talk with her, but he's just like, no, listen, and this is the one bit where they made them related in the book where it actually paid off, because like, no, listen, like the anger that my grandfather had because he beat my grandmother, like that wasn't Jack, and Jack attacked us, and that wasn't him, and I gave into my rage several times during this whole thing, and so it's in me, and it's like alcoholism, you have to fight it. So because Abra's like getting older, and she's like way more like fierce because she fucking killed people, got so traumatized, but now she's like way like so much more badass. He's like, now listen, like that, that anger, I see that in you too. So yeah, you have to watch out. So I did miss that, but I guess to pay off the different kind of side of it, like, oh, like Dick, I will sacrifice myself.
And of course, there's also the idea that he beats the Overlook finally.
Yeah.
And he does it himself. Like, he was tortured as a child. The ghosts followed him his entire life. He had to keep them inside of his mind and held them captive so they wouldn't affect other people or kill him.
Yeah.
And so, like, to finally, like, defeat it, like a self-sacrifice, not only, like, gratify yourself and, like, defeating the thing that's been torturing you for literally your entire life, but also to save this child who, like, he's grown to love, and care for. And also, I think it really works. I'm sad that Dan had to die.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you could have done it where, like, maybe he didn't have to. But with the Overlook possessing him...
No, I get it. The question, and we'll get to that when we talk about the last scene, which really nicely loops the whole thing. And like you were saying, the whole... It's ironic how the Overlook has a cycle, and then the movie itself, in this case, is a cycle of someone getting taught the shine, facing a threat, and then the ghosts return eventually, because Stephen King likes to point out that evil never like goes away. It may dissipate for a bit, but it always comes back in a different form. So like I do like that. Yeah, and so Rose the Hat gets memed.
She gets
and dies.
You haven't said a lot in a little bit. Are you okay?
I've been letting you guys go because I don't want to step on toes, because I've been wanting to say like, oh, and I thought the bar scene, and I thought the no, all right, keep going.
No, go ahead. No. We can cut it together.
So I will say on the bar front, because you guys had some very wonderful like world building of why the character is like this in this scene. So when that scene started, I was like, all right, he doesn't really look like Jack Nicholson, only superficially.
But the eyebrows are so accurate.
He doesn't really talk like him. And it was like halfway through that conversation where I sort of went, well, okay, this is Lloyd. So what if this is like a middle ground between the performance of Lloyd and the performance of Jack Nicholson? I kind of started thinking of it that way, and I was like, all right, that makes it a little
That's how
better.
I felt it too, where it's like, because when he gets mad, it's like more like Jack Nicholson, but most of it's like, I'm just a bartender.
Well, because his vernacular is more, like, if you notice, he's speaking more properly.
Yeah.
So I did catch that.
So that was my bit. I found it irritating at first, but overall I thought that scene was pretty good. But it does lead into that same issue I have as Joe, where the possession of Danny, I think that's what really, like, anything makes the Kubrick plate drop, it is that.
Yeah.
Because it goes from being the ghosts of the Overlook are preying on the occupants' own personal demons. And the only way they're able to gain so much influence is by them succumbing to it. Whereas in Dr. Sleep, it's, but we improved our power level and now we can get you. And it's like, both of these are valid. Both of these like have a place within the genre, but they don't belong together.
Well, and I know what you will say in response to what I'm about to say. So believe me, I respect that there is an argument against what I'm about to say. I know, like, people would say, like, well, why didn't the ghost just immediately... I know they power up, right? But, like, you could argue, well, if Jack's more willing, couldn't they just possess him immediately? And I know the answer is, well, they want to make everybody more scared. Mm-hmm. But he still has the shine, so his steam is already going to be enough to bump you way up.
Yeah.
So there is that, but, yeah.
So I think what I would have done, personally, and this is so
nervous.
So to go into how the book ending is different, the book climax, quote unquote.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we told you about how the rest of the True Knot got nuked by ghost cancer.
Oh God!
So
I forgot.
So the final showdown between
of Ultimate Destiny,
Rosie and Abra and Dan. So she's standing up on the platform that the Overlook
That's right.
on.
Yes.
And they're looking up at her from way down below.
Yeah.
So they engage in a psychic battle with her. Basically, she mindfucks Dan into thinking that he wakes up in that apartment again with the chick and the baby. Only he's in there with Rose the Hat.
Yeah.
And so he's immediately just like choking her out. By God, you'll take your medicine. And then like as he's killing Rose, he starts getting messages from Abra going, what the fuck? You're killing me. This is an illusion. And he's like, oh fuck, snaps out of it. And then they just like telekinetically push Rose off. She falls
and then
death,
it's implied Jack's spirit kind of helps.
Yeah.
He like waves to them from the tower.
Yeah, it's... But I think if...
They kind of just push her off and she dies.
Yeah.
I much prefer what happened in the movie.
Well, yeah.
So, but I think...
But I do like that bit that you mentioned of the mom and the kid coming back and then...
Yeah, but I think if we had got a merging, honestly, of those endings, like still have the fight showdown and the Ghost Gang Squad with Rose, but have that illusion where he... Like, basically have double layer illusion where he chokes out Dream Rosie, finds out it's Abra, but that's still a layer of the dream, so, like, maybe he was choking Abra for a bit, but now he thinks he actually killed her, and then have a scene where he's like, oh, fuck, I need a drink. And then that's, like, what makes him vulnerable to the ghost. Sure. Just, again, something that makes it so that our paragon of integrity is not also easily possessible.
I mean, because again, it's more about, again, how it jives with the Kubrick version, because what I like about that is just, it's ambiguous, a lot of it, but the overall, if you had to pick the basic plot, it is something in the hotel, or something that is, like, powering the hotel, if it's, like, one person's shining or the other. Something is causing this to, like, get worse and drive them all mad to kill them.
Also, tinfoil hat. Rosie is torturing Danny after she fucking parries him like the fucking Night King. And she takes a lot of his steam. Would that affect his shine and his susceptibility or not to possession?
Oh yeah, again, I think that also veers under the possession by personal failure versus possession by power levels.
Yeah, because I mean, again, logically, if we go by power levels, it makes perfect sense. He's weaker, the hotel is stronger.
Well, film shouldn't be judged on logic, just emotion.
Well, that's not what I'm saying, but understand that I'm pointing out that is a logical explanation. I just think...
Hey, listen... It's okay.
You're
just watching movies wrong.
Maybe what they should have done, here a third idea, to combine 3 endings.
Sure.
So you do the same thing where he uses the boiler, but because of the steam she sucked out of him, he's dying. So he's already dying the whole time. So you still have Dan's death in the snow, but the Overlook's burning, and then he dies. And then it's like, then you have that whole... the same kind of last scene.
Yeah.
But you're like, maybe it's one of those endings where it's like, maybe he lived, and that's like, oh no, he's a ghost at the end.
Also, so we talked about it a bit. I love how in this climax we get some fucking acknowledgement that Danny's shining is fucking great.
Yeah.
Because in the book, they just shit all over
They're
him.
Like, yeah, you're okay, but like, Abra's so fucking great. Dude.
Like, I was waiting, like, reading Dr. Sleep, I was like, I'm really curious what Rosie is going to think of Dan, because he's like basically what Abra would be like when she grows up.
But she doesn't know he's there till the climax. Yeah. Because they conceal him the whole time, psychically or otherwise, and then she's like, oh, you're Dan Torrance, like, you've been helping her, and it's like, oh, okay.
But yeah, and their whole fight scene where she is just like, holy shit, you're incredible. I'm like, thank fucking Christ, because he is.
Yeah, like, where have you been? Like, because basically, like, okay, we had to talk about this bit. We're like, they're in the maze.
The maze bit's great.
And the maze bit's great, where she's like fucking like slicing Rosie's legs and stuff, and like making her scared, and like it's so tense. And like, I remember the bit where like she's Superman of Justice League, like hears Abra running.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, that was totally a Justice League moment. I'm just like, no, I know you're there.
And she's holding up, talking to her. Then in the background, slowly comes into frame one of the boxes.
Yeah, that was great.
And like again, Mike Flanagan, great director, doesn't do like a ding. It's just like, no, it's just coming.
Yeah, at first I thought it was one of the ghosts. Yeah. I was like, which ghost is it? I was like, oh, it's a box.
Yeah, no, because the horror that, like, affects me, other than, like, cosmic or just, like, the end of existence, is the one where it's, like...
rational fears, to be sure.
Where it's, like, there's no pomp or there's no, like, anything special about it.
Yeah,
like,
it just is.
It's. I think what really drew me to Slender Man, it's just, he's there.
Yeah. Well, that's why the shows that don't do jump scare distortion sounds are always better.
It's like, he's over there.
And you know...
and he's watching you. And
he has been there. Yeah.
I remember, like, there's one bit where if you go back and find that old Let's Play channel of mine, I'm playing the Slender game, right? And there's a bit where I look outside the back window out into the yard, and Slender Man's there. And, like, there's no sound cue or anything. He's just there. And you can hear me kind of do this. Because, like, that is the thing
Yeah.
that gets me. It's just, like, so like, that's why I love the Ghost in Hill House.
So Mike Flanagan should have directed the Slender Man movie.
I think Mike Flanagan should direct a lot of things.
I think he should direct every horror movie,
including the Pavel Hall movie.
Okay.
Mikey, we got a job on.
I'm just saying, we got scripts we can make. But no, yeah, and then so like stuff like that, where like just the box slowly just comes in the frame without like anybody without the film like going like, ooh, what's that? I'm like, yes.
Well, you know what I think that is, or at least this is why it's cool to me, is because when that is done well, it looks completely different than when it is done poorly.
Yeah.
Because how many times do you watch a movie where it's
right,
like, why is this character just so fucking oblivious, and like it's so annoying how it's like, oh, there's something in the background, whereas when it's done really well, the atmosphere is so well laid. You have this perfectly plausible reason for why this character is distracted.
And wouldn't see it.
Yeah. To the point where a lot of people could be so enraptured in that they don't see it, even though it is being slowly presented to them.
Well, because it's out of focus.
Yeah.
So as an audience member, technically, as they turn to see it and it becomes in focus, that is literally you from their point of view in a sense.
Yeah.
Because you can't see all of it either. So.
But it's just
And it's not like cutting to it like,
yeah.
It's the difference between it being frustrating and it being engaging. If it's done really well, you're just like, you're so enraptured by it that you're not going, no, you need to turn around, It's like, no, I can see why she'd miss this.
No, and it's like, please don't turn around.
Yeah.
For my sake.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but then like she realizes, I'm not in your mind. You're the bait. And then she comes out of the dream after she almost gets mean by the box. She takes off her jacket all like hot and bothered, like, who are you? Just like...
Rebecca Ferguson basically like fucks Danny Torrance when she's like taking his steam. Like they were not subtle about like her just basically tying him down and having her way with him.
It's really cool because you know, earlier when she goes through the hallway that has the blood elevator, and she's kind of, oh, cute, not really impressed. Like, almost gets like fucking mean by the box.
Yeah.
And she's like, hold on a second, there's things happening here. It's like, ooh, what's this?
Yeah.
Like, she's just like, yeah. Like, you almost got me.
Yeah, she gets so excited.
Yeah, no, because she's like, not to spell El Camino, but like the guy who's like, just like,
who just really wants to have a duel.
Yeah, he's
like, let's just go.
Yeah, and that's kind of her where she's like, oh, you're really gonna give me a challenge? Okay, all right. It's like, there's probably some anime you can make an allegory to that has like a character who just like, oh, Berserk. Fucking, yeah, she's like Zod, where she's like, you wounded me. And just like, I have just waited 1,000 years. I hope you just put the...
That's Rebecca Ferguson.
That's Rebecca Ferguson. Rebecca Ferguson for Zod. We already have her first casting.
She's probably one of the most attractive women on the planet currently.
Can we talk about her acting? I don't think we've touched on Rosie's acting specifically.
Because she's great. I remember us going, Ewan McGregor. And we have the lovely Rebecca Ferguson. Oh shit! Like, she's the bad guy. Oh, it's gonna be good.
This semi ties into her acting, but I fucking love that her catchphrase is just "Hi there."
Well, hi there.
Because I think she says it like once or twice in the book, if she does it all.
No, she does it about 3 times, but it's a bigger book. So.
But because I saw that in the trailer and I was like, all right, that's kind of just a like silly trailer line, and then it's like, no, that's kind of how she greets everyone.
Yeah,
like, that's great.
Also, I like the opening with her and the girl Violet. It felt very Pennywise.
To me, this worked better than the bit in it, Chapter 2 with the Firefly.
Well, I mean,
that goes without saying.
Which is funny because that's one of the better scenes in that movie. But no, I remember.
That's like saying, "Wow, I like this scene better that's in Spider-Man 2 than Amazing Spider-Man 2." It's like, well, yes, you are right.
Well, yeah.
But I remember Nathan turned to me in the theater and was like, "Oh, this is a really good like riff on Pennywise, basically." Yeah,
well, and also I think it was scarier than Pennywise because Pennywise. It kind of made me feel like I felt when I was a kid when I watched that scene in the It miniseries because like I didn't know how the scene was gonna end.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas when I watched the It movie, I'm like, well,
because especially for you have no fucking clue what's happening.
Yeah, I'm like, because also I've never read Doctor Sleep. I made sure I was very avoiding of what I didn't look at the summary
and we didn't talk
who
about
they were, anything. Yeah. So I was like, I don't know what the fuck she can do. Or what she is.
She does that whole magician thing, and that's
if she's human and like she's being nice to the kid, and I'm like, Pennywise. This is some Pennywise shit. And then, like, I find out, oh, she eats the shine? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know that going in. And so, like, again, the whole time, it was so tense because I'm like, I know you're the bad guy, but I don't know what you do.
And then it just starts cutting over and there's more people in the trees. Like, no, those are my friends.
And
just pay attention. That's like,
hey, missing the magic trick. And I'm like, and yeah, it felt very, like, Pennywise, but almost more scary because she was so human.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, yeah, because
you look at Bill Skarsgård Pennywise, you're like, that shit's fucking sus.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Whereas when you know the context of her character in the whole movie, it's worse because you're like, oh, she's going to scream for days, probably.
Because like you have lovely, beautiful Rebecca Ferguson like by the water picking flowers. You're like, that's not suspicious. She's just a nice lady in the woods with her fucking like hippie outfit on. She probably makes kombucha at home. Like, and then like as she's like being more like doing what Pennywise would do, but even more effectively, I got scared.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I got scared.
Because again, going in thinking of this as a sequel to the Kubrick film, but also wanting to just see a really good movie. Just the whole opening was like, oh fuck yeah! Like this is the tone I want right here.
Yeah.
This kind of like just slow building.
And
terror.
she was just fantastic throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, like she portrayed the balance between like the haughty confidence and then like the actually being scared of Amber. Like we need to kill her and eat her.
And throughout the whole film, I thought that she was a genuine threat, even though I saw scenes of her like in despair, troubled, conflicted, losing, not sure what to do. And then at the end when she was like fighting the heroes, I was like, she has a shot. Like, yeah, I'm like, I know she's powerful. I know she's threatening. I know she's smart and cunning. Mm-hmm. Like, even though I've seen her be very human in certain instances, she still maintained that level of threat in my eyes. I don't know about you guys, but like I saw our main bad guy out just doing her shopping, and I'm still like, I'm still a bit,
yeah.
I don't like being around her.
Yeah, I will say she's one of the best parts of the book, and Rebecca Ferguson was like the best possible version of this character that we could get. Mm-hmm. Like so good. So good.
I mean, I think the book says she's like over 6 feet tall and like, weird.
It reminds me of that one. Just you saying that, reminds me of the Japanese horror thing of the lady with the straw hat, the really tall lady.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna get shivers. That story fucks me up because it's so like almost human. Mm-hmm. That's what gets me. Yeah. Like, ugh. That's also why Rosie's so terrifying because I'm like, you're not clearly a monster.
Do we want to talk about that thing from the book?
So there's another Sal. This ship, it's sailing straight and true, and like there's a little whirlpool over there that we just missed.
I want you to know that he's touching me.
And in that whirlpool over there, Rebecca Ferguson might have ended up being on screen with like a giant snaggletooth that also like turns into a tusk, and that's her only tooth.
That's their like ultimate form.
But that's something that's over there. That's in the whirlpool.
That's not this movie.
It's still blue and sunny and clear and
don't look at it.
It's just been we're just smooth sailing in the
when they take the
SS
steam.
Dr. Sleep film.
When they take steam, that's what happens to him in the book. So there was a bit where it was like she took the steam like from the canister, and Nathan was like, oh, is she gonna get the tusk? And I'm like, it could still happen later. Yeah, that's a thing. I think that was the last major thing from the books that we had to like reveal to him.
I think so. I think
that was the last big thing. Because in this movie, the way he shoots their eyes glowing when they're feeding is the way it like pulses and then like fades out when they've kind of like inhaled the high.
Yeah, that was really good. I'm glad I got that.
They eat what shines.
Sorry, I was gone for a few minutes because I was literally processing.
Yeah,
each stage was as long as a lifetime.
I think I just felt like what Picard felt when he experienced 20 years of his life.
That all happened simultaneously.
Well, again, that's basically the compressed version of feeling it as you're reading the book. You know, you just got like 50 pages of badness slammed into your chest at once.
I'm like Doctor Strange being hit with the fucking like, just my body's astral projects into 7 different forms.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But the other True Knot members were pretty good.
That's nice.
Crow Daddy had a few good scenes that kind of establish him. The rest didn't really, aside from Gramps. I think like Gramps.
I do wish
Crow
that
Daddy.
they did.
Honestly, I wanted this movie to be like 3 hours.
I gotta say, like, as well paced as I think this movie is, and like as long as it already is, Mike Flanagan, if you release an extended edition, I'll watch that shit.
Yeah, I totally will. Well, we get to the ending, and
this is where it feels a little rushed. The fact that not only has Danny become possessed, but he's insta like, and I want to kill Abra, and it's like, well,
the hotel wants to scare and kill Abra.
yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
I was worried we were actually gonna get the same like beats of the axe thing, because I was already kind of like feeling weird when he got possessed. So I remember when he came with the axe, I'm like, please don't tell me they do that whole scene where he does the Here's Johnny thing.
I also kind of don't like his one eyeball going white to show
That-
that he's possessed.
And that's from the miniseries. That's in the miniseries, their eyes go white. So that is a callback to that. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's probably why I don't like it.
Like they become like dead. You remember in the Shining book how Jack became like looking like dead
yeah.
because he was stabbed, so he looked dead and had like pale skin and white. Yeah, so that's like the book / miniseries. So I didn't really like that
because again, I'm thinking Kubrick, where it's like, okay, but Jack possessed still
didn't look like
he
that.
just looked like Jack.
Well, again, but
Oh, sorry. Crawdaddy was a Ketchita in Westworld Season 2.
that's who he was. Crow Daddy's the Native American Ketchta. He has the whole. I don't know if you watched season 2.
I did watch season.
He has a
2.
whole episode.
Why do you remember?
He was part of.
season
He was
2?
part of Ghost Nation or whatever.
He had that whole episode.
A whole
that was
episode all
just
by
him.
himself, where he was the first one to actually discover that they're in simulation.
Yeah, that was bad. We're not talking about Westworld season 2.
I would say spoilers, but just don't fucking watch it if you respect yourself.
You're forcing things into my mind that I
Hey,
repress.
you fucking told me about Snaggletooth
At 9/11.
but
and 9/11.
the difference is you only experienced this once. This is a memory that you're pulling out
Listen,
of me.
you showed me a lot of things today. I think this is my one. I got one back at you.
No, this isn't opening an old wound, Sal. This is waiting for it to scar and then surgically carving into it to hit the exact same.
We're gonna make it the same wound. Fucking bitch.
Yeah, it'll heal over eventually, I'm sure.
Okay, so I don't like wide-eyed possessed Danny because it's again a weird discontinuity with the Kubrick bit.
And it's just like Abra doesn't. He just swings the axe and she like psychically calls to him, but she doesn't like telekinetically throw him or remove the axe or anything. And it's like,
Well,
okay.
well, I can accept that because I feel like that was one of the moments where it was hardcore, especially after
X-Men?
No, especially after the Rebecca Ferguson gang squad.
Yeah.
I think it was already like teetering on the edge of being too like actiony. So having a big telekinetic slap off would be a little.
I don't think tonally it would fit. I just mean that like
from a character standpoint, it doesn't.
Well,
make
it just
sense.
builds. It's the reason why this moment to me is just the weakest, because it's like he's possessed and then he looks a bit off and then she just psychically calls him and he breaks free and then blows up the boiler.
Yeah, if we got to see like a bit more inside,
I wanted to be like seeing what was like what was the hotel tormenting him with.
Yeah.
If he's like his body is being controlled, is he able to see out of his body while it's doing this? Like that could have been such a great point of view scene like they did earlier. That I'm just saying like maybe like a bit more to like show me, okay, is he just being overwhelmed or is it actually like doing a mind fuck on him?
I will say, I think that this ending for the Dr. Sleep film is a better done version of the Shining book ending. Because
I guess.
So in the Shining book, when Jack almost gets Danny, and Danny's like, "Oh, you're not really him. You're not my dad."
Salvatore looked at me with like a look of pure fear. Like he was looking at me like, "Save me," and I'm like, and I will whisper, "No."
So what happened? I need to talk about it. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm really fucked up.
No, it's okay.
I was looking at a Ketchita's actor, and I was like, oh yeah, he was in that show Ringer with Sarah Michelle Gellar. I forgot that happened. And then I started going through Sarah Michelle Gellar's IMDb, and I was just thinking like, wow, she hasn't been in stuff in a while. I hope she's okay. I mean, oh, she was in Rebels because her husband's in okay. And then like I looked up at the conversation and I focused back in, and I was like, what year is it?
It's 2019, not 2013.
I was like, oh, fuck. And then I was like, wait, I had a joke I had to say. And then I looked at Josiah and I was like, what was the joke I was saying?
And I had left you miles behind.
I'd like to point out that it was about a half hour ago, I think, when Salvatore was like, I'm coming down from my high.
Oh, but it hit me again.
No, it's because...
Hey, listen, as Stephen King says, they always come back. You can't ever defeat...
As in his endings, they will never go... They will always... It's what it is, man. The Shining one. Oh, you didn't do the ending where I blew up my boiler? Well, we're doing a Dr. Sleep. Oh, you didn't... In the miniseries, you didn't, do my whole ritual of Chud? Well, I'm making that happen in Chapter 2, the movie. You will always do my ending. I don't care if I have to make a sequel.
Can I just say... I'll cut this out, of course. But every time any of us say Gang Squad, I want you to show a copy of Dark Souls 2.
Yes.
And every time we say it again, it just gets a little bit bigger.
Oh. Show the fight with the 3. Oh. Anyway.
But just...
But
so everyone wants to edit that.
So to circle back in. So at the end of the Shining book, when Jack is almost on Danny has this thing where he's like, "Oh, you're not really my dad. You're the hotel. You're just a false face." And so Jack's kind of a little bit more beaten up. So he just decides to slice the fuck up out of his face, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't need this face anymore. I'm the ghost of the hotel." It's like, so in that scene where Abra is like, "You're not really Dan Torrance. You're just this ghost thing," and he was like,
false
hey!
face.
And he was smiling manically. I was like, please don't carve off your face, please.
Or say, "Here's Johnny."
But they do again this thing that was kind of dumb in The Shining, but works a little bit better in this, where the kid is like, "You forgot something.
Yeah.
The boiler."
And it's like, wait, I'm in the hotel itself. I'm literally alive, and I don't realize I'm going to explode. This is dumb.
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
I refute you.
Go ahead.
I think it's not dumb because...
So Nathan explained to me it makes more sense here than the Shining book, because in the Shining book the hotel's been alive this whole time.
Yes.
So there's no reason it shouldn't be aware of that. Whereas in this movie it's like, well, technically it just woke up and the ghost.
Yes, that's what I'm gonna say. Is that it's so imagine you.
I have gas.
Imagine
and I just wake up.
No, imagine you died. Imagine you died. And then you wake up 30 years later, and you're in your same body, and you're in the desert, and you're like, ugh. And then somebody rolls by with just a nice big jug of water and a nice beautiful steak, and you're like, I am really hungry, and you don't realize that you have to take a shit, and you're like, no, I can, much like me. 5 minutes ago, hyper-focusing on Sharon Michelle Gellar's acting career, you would also forget that perhaps maybe other things were happening around you.
You are the Overlook. No, Jack. You are the Overlook, and then Jack was a zombie.
That was a very good example. But I had another one in mind as well.
I'm glad that I can contribute.
It's like imagine you've been in a coma for 30 years. Okay. No, that was 30 seconds.
I'm in Pablo Hall joke, but I hate you.
Yeah. So you've been in a coma for 30 years. You wake up, and then within an hour or two of waking up, someone's like, "Oh, by the way, your appendix is about to burst." And you're like, "Oh, I didn't even fucking notice. I'm still getting used to this." So that was,
But it's so much stronger. It had so much steam. Why can't it tell? Its power levels, it makes sense.
It's so hyper focused. Well, because much like the weed brownie I ate, all much like all the steam I got from Rosie, it kind of gave me a little bit of high.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
No, okay.
I'm only half joking.
I am with Nathan. This is better than it is in the Shining book, because in the Shining book it's really dumb.
To be sure.
We'll see.
But in this movie it's a little bit better.
Because it's 5 minutes instead of 5 months.
But also
yes, and it's also because this movie only references the boiler once as a Chekhov's gun, whereas in the book it's the whole thing. So it's like, okay, of course the boiler's going to explode because you said, watch out, it might explode in the first chapter.
Again, if you had just added another shot or two where you see like the display for all of what he's turning on, so you see him like clearly putting it into overload mode,
because he kind of just turns it on.
Yeah, like you see that some of the pressure gauges he has clearly cranked all the way, and you hear it like way louder, and it's like that's probably not.
And what I imagined as I was watching it, and I hope they would do like a cut to it, but like because it's the exact same boiler room as in The Shining, and to a T. I was like, ooh, that's really good.
Yeah.
But I imagine like in my head there was a flashback of like little Danny watching Wendy turn all the knobs, and he just kind of remembers.
Sure, why not? Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be a chance to show a sympathetic scene of Jack with his son.
And that'd be a real good scene to just have more of the Overlook, because you painstakingly created it.
This sounds familiar. What is the sound? There's something similar where they like painstakingly recreated something to like no purpose. I'm trying to remember what it was. I mean, there's something bad.
Oh, it was the Millennium Falcon in Force Awakens.
Oh yeah, because they were like barely in it.
I was about to say, there's that,
and it sucked.
But also,
Star Wars sucks.
But also,
did you know that?
But also,
as a fact.
Also, did you know in Ready Player One, there's a bit where they go through a level that's The Shining?
But also,
you're lying.
No, that's a truth.
But also in another
don't tempt me.
In another counter to your argument for Overlook exploding, Ghost not knowing all that stuff. Let's briefly.
Nathan's on my side. So
I earlier just said the book was worse.
let's briefly, if you will,
Your Honor.
Let's follow a character here. All right, this is the rotting old woman POV for Dr. Sleep. You're chilling in a tub, you know. You're gonna murder the shit out of this little boy. Then all of a sudden you're in a box. You're in his mind. You're stuck in this frozen maze.
Remember when she just screams in pain?
Yeah.
How Danny just like, yep, I'm gonna go to business now, close.
And that's just like the book where it's like he walked in and looked at her, she smiled, and then when she knew, she screamed, and it's like, oh God, he closed the door on that bitch.
So you've been in a box in a maze in this person's mind for years, and then he dumps you out. You eat a chick, and you immediately hop back in his brain. Now you tell me, from this ghost POV, where the fuck is this body? Where were they? I don't know. I just ate.
But
I have spent 95% of my screen time in this person's mind.
But they're spirit. They're not. They don't have. Anyway, the point is
they were in a little box.
So
much like Barty Crouch Jr., they were just in a box.
So tell me this. Yeah. In this continuity.
Yes.
Because we know from the books that there's still some evil on the grounds of the Overlook, even though it burned down.
No.
So is the movie saying
stupid.
So the end of this movie is that great like loop around where Abra goes into the bathroom to lock the Mrs. Massey away.
No.
So was the movie okay. What I'm asking is is this movie saying, well,
wait, why?
No, that's okay. So I'm bringing you there.
Oh
just
God,
slow down.
I'm sorry.
We're gonna be there. I'm trying to ease you into this idea.
I'm a dog who knows he's going to the vet, not the park.
So okay. So here's the thing. Did all the ghosts just live, and it doesn't matter? Is the blowing up the Overlook more symbolic for Dan, or is this movie saying, like the Dr. Sleep book, only Mrs. Massey and maybe Horace were able to survive it blowing up, and so there's actually less ghosts now?
The last one.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I like that one.
I just because we see her, and then I thought about it. I'm like, well, at first I was saying they were saying that it still is haunted because it's standing, but I guess the ghosts are separate from the entity that is the hotel.
As the credits of Mike Flanagan, he shows the shot of her in the bathtub like 18 times, and every time I'm like, fuck off.
It's so great.
Like, it never gets, like, routine. Every time I'm like, stop it, just cut away, I hate you.
I love it because that's the bit that he recreates. Like, he doesn't go into the red bathroom or do any of, like, those iconic things. He's like, no, I want the bit of, like, fucking rotting old woman. And I'm like, I appreciate that instinct. But
also, it's fucked up as a kid because the bathroom's kind of a scary place because, like,
sure,
so many times you have to go there, like, at night in the dark while you're, like, your body's like, hey, you gotta either take a piss or take a shit. And it's like, it's never like you go there for fun.
No.
So it's always like a place of like I think still to this day I have fears of like restrooms and like people hiding behind curtains. Because I ritualistically, as a kid and now as an adult still.
You told me this. You always pull the curtain.
I always pull the curtain. I have never failed. And you also want to know why? I'm not dead.
Well, neither am I, but sees the flies on my face.
No, I'll go to a friend's place. I'll go to the bathroom and that curtain's closed. I'm like, nah, fuck that shit. I open it immediately. Do I put it back? Yeah, I'm a good friend. But I check it like twice. I'm like, fuck that shit. So
Squeal is the most terrifying thing you've ever
fuck,
seen.
dude, why would you guys make such a horrifying film?
That's even worse, isn't it?
And the fact that you guys tease a sequel, I'm always like,
oh, I'm thinking it up now.
I'm like, please don't do that.
Because because you see the horde.
Stop. And also, I like how the Avatar poster is now back in the bathroom.
Yeah.
As I see it, I'm like,
no. There was a bit where Nathan saw him was transported because he was like, no, this loops. This isn't happening. But so yeah, and then the Overlook blows up. So Stephen King finally gets his ending where the Overlook blows up, and then we get the scene where Dan's saying, shine on, Aberstone, and it's like, is that line kind of cheesy?
Shine on, Dr. Stone.
I
Watch now on Funimation and Crunchyroll.
I've heard that's good.
Yeah, I've heard it's
pretty good too.
I've heard it's the up and coming shonen.
I thought
that was My Hero.
I thought that was Demon Slayer.
No, but Dr. Stone's even newer than My Hero.
I know, but
I don't know. There was like 18 of these new fucking. Remember back in the day where we got 2 shows. But I like them.
I didn't like the other one. But so Dan is a ghost and
I know I can get it.
You cut yourself. So Dan is a ghost, and so it's looping the
what?
So Dan is a spirit, and he is basically doing a callback to the Dick Halloran scene where he's in the hospital.
Wait, he died?
Yeah, Dan dies, and so he's the ghost.
I can't keep it up. I'm sorry.
No, you can't. You tried. So he's a ghost, and it basically he's like, the Shining is not something to be afraid of. You should embrace it. And it's like, yeah, it's not scary. There's nothing creepy about it. And then he's just like, yeah, shine on. And then she just goes in the bathroom, and Mrs. Massey followed her, and it's like, huh, okay. Are the ghosts able to follow them because they were once in the building?
Because they're related.
That's my assumption.
Not in this continuity.
No, but they both got the shine.
I was actually kind of hoping that because when she looked at the bathroom, I was like, "Oh, please have her say I'll be right back," and have her just walk towards it and cut. Like, I kind of wish that they didn't show her in the bathroom. Like I kind of wish it was hope they'd be like up to like. Us,
oh, okay.
Yeah,
make it more ambiguous.
Yeah.
That would have been a Kubrick way to do it. Like, did the ghost survive? That's a good point. That's probably how Kubrick would have done the ending of Dr. Sleep. Is maybe the.
That's
ghost
what I'm gonna cut it when I do my Dr. Sleep Shining crossover gigantic 6-hour movie where I put in all the deleted scenes, and then whenever I need to, I can intercut the miniseries.
So you get the full story. Oh God! Did you know one of the endings of The Shining? It shows Danny and Wendy in the hospital, and Mr. Ullman comes in and gives Danny the ball, implying that he was like knowingly sending Jack to be absorbed, like that he knows that it's haunted or he's a ghost. And I'm like, what the fuck? And so Kubrick was like, that's bad. We're cutting that from the American release.
I was gonna say that would make the setup for Dr. Sleep a little bit more difficult,
or better. No, but yeah, it's I like it as an ending, but it is interesting how it does kind of make it more ambiguous again about how many ghosts lived, or if it's just Mrs. Massey, or it leaves it unclear.
Well, again, and that combined with the whole
that's one of our favorite expressions. Just sort of like, listen, how do I say this?
So that bit, in addition to the there's worse things than the True Knot, is what made me go, are you sequel baiting? Stop it.
They're doing a Pennywise prequel.
Well, yeah, but that's dumb too.
Back!
Well, wait, they haven't confirmed it, but the director has said, yeah, we've talked about doing like a period piece Pennywise prequel, and I'm like, that defeats the whole point of the movies.
That is the worst idea I've heard.
Yeah, now you know the truth.
In a very long time.
Yeah. I got a bit more steam out of you, didn't I?
You did.
Kills me. Shoves me. Yeah. My God, you'll take your medicine. Shoves the brownie down my throat. Okay, but yes. Go ahead.
No, just a Pennywise prequel?
Yeah. So that's yeah.
You know it's no. You're fucking no. You know it's bad. Shut up.
No, because what?
You're not allowed to talk.
No, because what did he do between when he showed up and when it?
I'm sure he kept winning. That's why he's still alive.
Yeah, but how? New opponents, new rules.
I mean, I did want more period stuff when I watched It Chapter 2.
If it's like if it's like Joker, where he only becomes Pennywise, it's Robert Gray the whole movie, and then he's just a serial killer, and at the end he becomes supernatural. I could go with that.
Yeah.
If it's like Joker,
it's funny. It's not what they're gonna do.
No.
no.
No. Well, it was for It Chapter 2 being as long as it was. The fact that they didn't like go back and show like all those things.
Anything useful? Yeah.
It's almost like, why'd you make the movie?
It's almost like, why not just watch Doctor Sleep instead?
Yeah, you should.
But
hopefully still in theaters when this comes out. Go see it.
Hey, listen.
I'm
gonna jump right on it.
I said hopefully.
But
we
yeah,
got a lot on our plate.
Yeah, what were I think we were in the middle of somebody's thought.
Dude,
that's okay. We'll cut to that.
I'm so gone.
That's
no. There's no thoughts to be in the middle of. Oh wait.
Yeah,
now there is.
We only men on this podcast.
So
because you mentioned thoughts.
So I am saddened that we don't get Dan's last scene from the book because he lived, but it's it's him.
He lived in the book.
Yeah, he lived in the book.
Gotcha.
I don't know if we made that clear or not.
No.
Yeah, he completely lives.
Or if he did, I was
It's fine. You know, it's sus. But
all it needs is water.
So again, that opening bit with the chick that he wakes up with, who has the baby and the drugs and all of that. Again, that's the thing that's weighing on him. That's when he's like, okay, even though I'm like 8 years sober and I've completed all these steps in the 12-step program, this is the one secret that I can't reveal because this is what will condemn me. This is what will prove that every good deed I do is irrelevant.
Yeah, and because I was that low, that bad.
And the end of the book is him telling his AA group at his 10th anniversary like that story. And he starts noticing, like, as he's saying it, no one's really reacting. They're kind of just looking around, like they're getting the food ready.
Someone might be looking at his watch.
Yeah, and then he's like, I'm not the worst human being in the world. Like, these people don't judge me for this. Some of them have done worse things than this. And, like, it's such a, that's such a great emotional climax and ending for a character. But
it's so great.
But again, it, like... you know, it's the ending of the movie is much more a passing of the torch. My story's over now. It's time for you.
But that's why it's weird.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I don't like that it feels like that. Like, oh, we might have an Abra movie. I mean, it could be good, but it's like,
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't know if I'd hate that. I mean, I'd rather Mike Flanagan work on different things.
Oh yeah.
I do think this was an amazing film. I think that we should leave it alone.
No. Well, there's
much like I think that we shouldn't have a Blade Runner 2050, or you know.
It's true because we have to be thankful that it was even like this good of a continuation in the first place.
And of course, I say these words, but in about 20-30 years, we'll be sitting in some seats around a microphone, being like, "Wow, that Doctor Sleep sequel either sucked or was great."
Or we'll be like, "That Shining remake was amazing. The third one actually was almost as good as the Kubrick one."
I can't believe the second Shining remake was also a first Doctor Sleep sequel. They, threw the rule book out the window on that one.
They did the Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons, where it's like, no, this is a sequel. What? Okay.
They got it worse than those films.
Well, yeah. But yeah, so that was kind of my thoughts overall going through. That was kind of my thought process going through the ending was... I definitely am coming around on that Lloyd scene a little bit more.
Yeah,
now that you,
I agree.
So I'm pretty good. I'm pretty
like
good
that
with
now.
that.
I'm able to articulate my points better. Have you guys kind of like, hey, listen, my point of view.
Well, no, it's true.
And I noticed more flaws about the movie than I did initially.
Yeah, to me, it's all just from the possession onwards. Everything up to the possession, like again, the Jack Torrance scene was a bit weird, but now that I think about it, it's a bit better. But everything up to that. I was like, this is fucking amazing.
Well, again,
I was like, this is like amazing.
It's kind of like that Gerald's Game field, except he was able to like adjust course to keep it from crashing.
Yeah, and again, I love Gerald's Game, but
that ending was really bad.
That ending was really. It felt like it was like Stephen King said, "You gotta keep the ending."
Well, that was Stephen King going, that twist is so good.
Well,
no, it's not.
Because I went up, I looked up the summary for the book, and like there's maybe like another page or two more after that, like going, oh yeah, and that fucking dick dog that tried to eat me, it
got shot
by the cops, and I was like,
so
what
wait,
does that add to the
so basically what my family did was he was able to reel it back just a little bit more than
the police shooting a dog that was a real jerk.
So I feel like
maybe
it was very weird because I watched Gerald's Game and I was like, oh, I hated that ending. I loved everything up to that. And then I was watching this, another Mike Flanagan Stephen King movie, and I'm like, well, I know that the Overlook's still standing, so this has to be a better ending than the book. And it was, but I was still like, why is it that I loved 95% of this movie, like, completely, and then I have, like, 5% that I kind of have a problem with?
It was like me with The Lighthouse, where I was like, where I got to the end and I was like, why don't I love this movie?
That, I'll take that. I think it was kind of my version of your thing with The Lighthouse, where it's like, I'm sure as I rewatch it, I will become more okay with it. I think just in the spirit of everything else, I could like go, this movie's really good. I can see this as a sequel to Kubrick. And then that was like, that's clearly Stephen King going, no, fuck you, Stanley Kubrick. The boiler blows up, bitch. And it just felt like that, even though I know that's not what Mike Flanagan thought.
I could also see this, again, tinfoil hat. Stephen King and Mike Flanagan in the room, like, listen, I'll give you Gerald's Game, all right? And if you do a really good job, if you really get my vision, I might let you do Dr. Sleep.
And he's like, fuck, I was going to make more changes than Dr. Sleep, so I'll just make this one as faithful as possible.
Yeah.
And then Stephen King was like, okay, you get a pass. We really have to do some Kubrick stuff. He's like, I hate that version, but you promised.
Like, but Steven, you know me. I did Gerald's Game was so accurate.
He's like, oh, you're right.
He
was like, oh, that logic makes perfect sense.
I fucking played.
Well, I mean, I've read.
That's so funny.
That's what happened. Fuck you.
Because I've read.
I don't care.
I've read bits and pieces of like a paraphrased interview with Stephen King, where he's like, yeah, I was okay with him making some changes to the film to make it more in line with Kubrick because he's doing such a faithful adaptation of my book. And it's like,
yeah. And it's like, wait a minute,
what?
He's talking about Gerald's Game.
No,
I knew it.
Well, and he just means the first, like, 3/4 of the movie.
Yeah.
Because the first 3/4 are, I mean, they cut stuff, but basically there's almost no deviation structurally.
Do you like at the end when the boiler's burning and it cuts and Wendy's there and it cuts back and it's young Danny?
I fucking forgot that happened. I won't say I liked that. I won't say I did. It's not bad. It just
interesting.
It felt weird.
It was a nice transition because
did they say that Wendy died?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, there's a whole bit where talks about how she had flies on her face and how and then he's talking to Jack Lloyd, not Jake Lloyd, Jack Lloyd.
Jack Lloyd,
right? And he says how like mom died 20 years ago and blah blah. Yeah,
sorry, but my point is, I think my point is saying that is, I get that the whole point is, oh look, it's me and my mom. Look, we triumphed over the Overlook, didn't we? And it's like you still could have done that, like him talking to her ghost or something. I don't know. I kind of get it. I think they might have been like a reference to Tony, but I don't know. I don't think it was bad. I just don't think I liked it. It was kind of just, okay. I get why you did that. It wasn't really effective compared to some other stuff.
I have a similar feeling. It does have that nice triumph of being like a moment of Danny going like, look, I was able to do, I was able to save us all like I wanted to do
it's
back
like
in
he
The
could
Shining,
go back,
but I didn't have the strength, and it's basically like him taking his greatest triumph and copy pasting it to his greatest defeat.
Yeah.
But it's, it's very
understood.
It's very stylistic. I thought it was interesting.
I like it. I mean, it's not like the most impactful thing, but
it was weird to me again because I feel like because it's following the Kubrick film, they felt the need to make Jack more of an asshole. So there's little to no redemptive bits when he's Lloyd. And then here, rather than have his father, who actually died here, spirit be what he sees and have reconciliation with him, it's like, no, it's his mom. He could never reconcile with his dad, who's a drunk and beat his family.
Yeah.
And it's like, you could have just... Because that's why it's weird, because this ending feels so Stephen King, but I'm so surprised you didn't say, like, and then Jack, like, waves to him because they reconcile, because I swear... I got redeemed from alcohol. I'm a good person, so...
Don't you like how when Ewan McGregor's possessed and chasing Abra, he's limping and acting just like Jack did in The Shining?
Do I like that? No.
I like that.
Well, again, I was worried. That's what was leading me into the feeling of going, please don't redo the Here's Johnny bit. I'm really worried.
Well, see,
Again, they have restraint on the chapter.
Yeah, no, they did.
I was also kind of eased into it with the previous stuff, where like recreating the going up the stairs bit.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Having him do like a fucking reenactment of Jack swinging the axe when he's attacking Rosie.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that was really close. So when it came to that point, I was like, is that a little much? Yes.
Oh yeah, I don't hate that.
I like it.
Yeah.
Also, I like how the typewriter is still right where it was.
Well, see, that's the weird thing is because everything should be way more decrepit after 30. Like, you should have, like, fucking mold everywhere. Like, and there probably was, but basically since it's alive and it just restored itself to its former glory, I just saw that as well. It could restore the golden room to its former glory. So, to me, it was, well, the typewriter's probably beaten to shit and, like, covered in rust, but I imagine it just made everything nicer looking.
To me, it was like entering a boss fight for like the Doctor Sleep video game, where it was like boom typewriter, and then like when Rosie the Hat comes when Rosie the Hat comes in, you see like Ewan McGregor like kind of posing with the axe. He's like, "Oh, I'm ready with it."
That's
like,
right.
Oh, do you get
and
it?
And the axe is so shiny too.
It's so shiny.
Yeah, I think because the Hoverlook
Hotel.
The Overlook.
You got him.
No, Satan.
I can teach good grammar.
No, it's grammar.
You fucking what?
I'm
not in a spot for you to do that.
Sorry. But no, I lost it. Sorry.
Okay. I kind of wish that she had no, I actually don't wish this.
It was something about the axe.
No.
I assume that the Overlook is just like everything in it is a part of it. So it.
But why didn't it restore the red to the axe? Why is it just a silver-headed axe, unlike the one that Jack used?
I don't know.
It's a different axe.
It might be a different axe. Yeah, because it was removed from the container, so it was a new axe probably, and the old axe is with Jack in the snow.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Assuming they didn't move his body, which it says they just taped it up and condemned it, so...
I mean, if they went to that trouble, they probably...
I just like the idea that Jack Nicholson's still out there frozen.
Well...
Like, I just want the ending to be Abra goes out and then just... He's just, like, staring.
Well, yeah, I think I made the joke, like, a day or two before... Because you had been on this kick of being like, I can't wait to see, like, CGI Jack Nicholson monstrosity rushing around.
I thought it might be possible.
And I was just like, after hearing so much of that, I was just like, no, here's how you're going to get Jack Nicholson. They're going to run out to the snowy maze, and he's still just going to be sitting frozen there. And
they recolor it.
Yeah.
So it's like...
No, you should know Michael Flanagan from Hill House, where, like, the dad and the older dad are, like, almost the same age.
Yeah,
where it's like,
true.
So he likes to just have different actors for different ages, just because fuck it. But I was gonna say that, like, maybe like Rosie walked by the typewriter, picks it up and goes, "Oh, look, and no play."
She was this close.
She was so close.
She was like, looks at the novel. Well, not great literature, but
she at least read it.
No, she looked at it and was like, "What the fuck?"
And also, Danny uses a crowbar to break open the front doors to the Overlook, and then immediately drops it.
That was weird. I saw him with the crowbar, and then I think he walked into the bar shortly after. Because he, like, hit the light or something.
He didn't want to be, like, tempted to grab the crowbar.
And then Rosie walks by, doesn't grab it either.
She knows what it is, bitch.
when you're nice to die, you don't need, you know...
Well, she kicked his ass, dude. Like, she didn't even need it.
She did. Yeah. And then she also, like, Night King's Beyond parried him.
No, she got hit at least. She took some damage
in the shoulder.
Yeah.
Doctor Sleep is more believable than Game of Thrones. You're right.
By magnitude, stupid.
Like, she had a more believable dodge parry than the Night King, who had been built up for years.
I think you need to. We've let out enough steam.
Yeah.
That was the Doctor Sleep movie.
I'm gonna edit the fuck out of this second half.
No, it's okay.
Get rid of some of
it just needs to be 2 parts.
No. Why would I?
I'll edit the second part.
The Deathly Hollows trend needs to stop. You don't need a 2-part finale for everything.
Bum, bum. So yeah, that was my thoughts on Doctor Sleep. Overall, I think it was a really, 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 really good movie, bordering on great, fantastic movie. I think I just need to rewatch it a few times and realize how good I've got it.
A few dozen, yeah.
I think
for me at least.
I think the ending is going to be one of those things where every time I watch it, it will simultaneously get better and worse.
Yes, there'll be parts that are like, I believe that and feel so much more about the little Danny and Wendy thing. It'll be like, I hate everything else.
Where it was like, I'm so optimistic about this part because I like just watched it and I really wanted it to be good, and then years later it's like, I barely remember this movie. I have no reason to assume this will improve.
Well, because I feel like the Rose the Hat death is like the high point. And then afterwards I'm like kind of cruising to
Well, when like the ghosts are like shoving their fingers under her flesh to get into her, I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah, that was good.
Well, again, and her fucking parry so that the pick end of the axe like gets him right in the thigh, and then she like fucks with it to
she presses into it as she's fucking him. Yeah.
It tastes like whiskey.
I'm like,
fuck. And it's darker too.
Tastes like the measles, and then she dies.
Shades alcoholism.
No, see, that's the ending, is she actually gets away and Dan dies, and then Amber finds Rose years later. She's like, I'm a fucking alcoholic. I can't use my shine.
Ever since that day, I can't stop drinking and my temper is just paper thin.
I can't do anything. I'm effectively useless. You could live your life with never fearing me. Okay. Anyway, here's another drink.
Anyway,
yes,
so real good, but that ending I will go back and forth on probably till the end of time.
Yeah. I think this is probably what I would say like 2010 is to 2001. Well, you can debate that, but it's really like,
or Blade Runner 2049 or Blade Runner.
Yeah, where it's like, I mean, I'm sure in some ways, Sal, you kind of feel similar where you're like, I kind of like Doctor Sleep a bit more than The Shining, but I don't know that for a fact. Because I think that's how you really feel, because this is just looping.
He knows me.
Okay, this is looping the Blade Runner 24 hours. Like, I like The Shining and the world it made, but I like the characters more in Doctor Sleep.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And I can predict the future because I have The Shining. But
I think we've just been friends for like 6 or 7 years.
I've always been.
If not longer. No, 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
Or something. But
at least.
So
You've been friends for 5 years, Nathan.
I was gonna say it's been like 5.
Yeah, it's been 5.
It was 2014.
It's almost, it's gonna be 5 in a month.
Oh.
Because we watched in December, we watched Berserk together, and we watched Naruto.
Yeah.
It was great.
Senpai remembered me.
Good times. Good times.
Love you. I love you guys. I'm glad we have this show. I'm glad you guys are listening to this show / watching. I didn't say that right.
You know, it's okay. I will.
What are you talking about? I edited the parts you said wrong. It's fine.
So, I don't think we have any closing thoughts. So you can edit this out if we don't. Do we have any additional thoughts that can be tacked on in terms of? I'd say.
Let us know if you want us to review more Stephen King films.
Yeah, because we're going through his novels.
Let us know if you want us to have a more thorough discussion of Gerald's Game, and maybe like other Mike Flanagan stuff like
Tusk mixed with Hush.
Mixed with Oculus.
It's Deaf Walrus. I took your ears too.
No, it's a deaf walrus with one tusk.
Oh no! Snaggletooth.
All right, I'm cutting all that shit
No,
out.
that was hilarious.
No, that's you're cutting our best shit.
Thank you.
No, wait.
I'm not done yet.
I was just saying. I recommend The Shining film. I recommend the Doctor Sleep book. If you really want to, I'd say it's very fucking interesting to like get Stephen King's point of view on why he wouldn't like such a masterpiece. Because when you read The Shining, it's very clear why. And then Doctor Sleep, I would say, is probably a book I would recommend. I mean, I don't know why you would watch the Kubrick film and then this film, or go from the Kubrick film to the book and miss this film, but if you do, I mean, that wouldn't be terrible, but it does have those Stephen King-isms of just like half of that was completely unnecessary.
Yeah. And also to kind of bring up another thing where like, if you want us to talk about Hill House, we will happily do a maybe episode by episode if you guys want that, or maybe lump a couple in. And also there's a because The Haunting of Hill House has been adapted before this show in a film called I think it's just called The Haunting.
The Haunting.
Yes. If you want us to also cover that,
Why?
because it has Liam Neeson.
No, I'm asking them. Like, if you.
Why should they?
No. So you were saying.
Sorry.
So if you want us to watch this,
Mm-hmm.
and then to continue that thought, so if you want us to watch this, why? What did we do to you to make you want us to watch
Yeah,
this?
why do you hate us?
Yeah.
But also, why do you love us?
Mm,
Because they're interacting, so it's good.
you know, there's a little bit of masochism in every drop of love.
It's relative.
By God, you'll take your medicine. Thank you so much for listening to the Escape Pod. I have been Josiah.
I've been Nathan.
I've been Sal.